There it goes. Was having a bit of trouble connecting. How's it going, everyone? And welcome to another episode of No Excuses with your favorite show hosts, Ara Still.
Threnodian?
And Wallace Allen, we're all here today this week, and Fern didn't tell us he needs to run away. So maybe that means he
No,
actually doesn't need to run away.
I do not.
Miracle of miracles.
I know, right? At least until someone starts knocking on the door.
Yeah, you'll be asked to help with something for 5 minutes. Just 5
Uh,
minutes, don't
a-
worry.
Assembling a gigantic ass bed is probably the one in this case.
Which will only take 5 minutes, for sure. For
Yeah,
sure, only
just
5
5 minutes. 5 minutes to ignore the rest of the 2 hours. Ugh.
But yes, we're all here to bring you the latest news and games commentary for the week, such as it was. So I don't really know what that includes this week, but we will see what happens. If you'd like to get involved with the show, the best place to do it is to simply go to our Discord, which you can get to by following the link in the show description underneath the show archive on YouTube. Or if you wish to send us an email, you can do so by sending us email at noexcusesvtw@gmail.com, where you can do what our good buddy who normally sends us emails, Serethus, does, and send us a whole bunch of stuff where you can wax lyrical about your favourite type of games, regardless of whether we know anything about it. And then we can
Yes.
embarrass ourselves trying to come up with commentary about it. I could mention the Twitter, but I haven't been monitoring it lately, and I don't do anything with it anyway. So, and Twitter's bad for you, so I don't really want to recommend anybody go there.
It really is.
No. Could be worse. Could be Blue Sky, I suppose.
Yes, I mean the only thing that is like a redeeming factor for Twitter really is it's technically better than Blue Sky.
I mean, if your only arguments are you could be on Blue Sky or Reddit, I mean,
Yeah.
It's like you're a bad person, but at least you're not a pedophile.
Or a Reddit mod.
But I repeat myself.
yeah, mostly the second verse,
Yeah.
same as the first.
That's redundant. Oh dear, oh dear. So yeah, just don't social media. Social media bad.
I'm going to hide Yuno's feet in your dress so I can have glowy hair. Not have to inflict feet damage on the audience.
Yeah, that's
Very much wants
thing.
us to see her feet. I can tell by the animation. Like she's literally wiggling them around.
It's even worse when I got her because she does have shoes. She just takes them off.
Right. Well, as part of her animation, she takes off her shoes.
Yeah, when she goes into half moon and full moon mode, so glowy hula hoop mode and bow mode, she just takes her shoes off.
Right.
Well, it's to show you she's too good to walk on the ground.
And they just magically rematerialize when the mode ends.
So Kuro knows exactly the sort of audience they're cultivating.
That's true. It is a demerit that must be gotten over. However, she is incredibly fun to play. We'll get to that in a little bit. But first, Fern, your week.
Not a whole lot of week this week. I've been still dabbling away at Final Fantasy, just in the background more than anything else. I've done, and I'm currently doing, a bit of the Cosmic Exploration, which is the new Gatherer zone. Basically, if you've done Ishgardian Restoration, it's the same sort of thing with all the burrs knocked off it, really. So you've got these big zones you can just run around and gather stuff in. Actually, that's not quite true. You don't actually gather stuff. You do gathering, but the items don't ever go into your inventory. They just skip that whole bit entirely, and they just go into whatever hyperspatial area they exist. One of the biggest things that really annoyed at me about Ishgardian Restoration, actually, was the fact that you had to kind of stop and go and bank all your resources for seemingly no reason. Like you had to go, you get them appraised, and it was just an extra step that didn't accomplish anything. So yeah, this one, it skips all that. Instead, you go out, you get missions, which is just basically go out and gather X of thing. And then you finish that, and you get your rewards. You get your bunnies. There is currently, I think it's 3 or 4 zones. I'm not sure if the new one's out yet. Each of which you can basically use to power level your your gatherers or your crafters, because the missions will scale to an appropriate level. So if you're starting from 0, you start at the first planet and, well, start on the moon, really, and move up from there. There's not a whole lot really to talk about, though. There's some interesting glams available. You can level up a crafting or gathering weapon, but there doesn't seem to be too much point in doing that other than it's kind of a neat design, I guess, for some of them. You could always just go to the market board and just buy a better one.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of the gathering content has that as well. It's just weird because you could get this gathering tool, but why?
Well,
So
those were usually that they would exist as like the highest end gathering for whatever tier it was released in. Oh,
yeah, if you level this gathering tool all the way up, it probably will be better than anything else you could get.
that's
But it starts at level 0.
yeah, for casual crafting, you're better off buying something from the market board.
Yeah, just buy something off the market.
Well-
There's usually something that'll do the job for fairly cheap.
Well, maybe not crafter or gatherer weapons; those are usually actually quite expensive. But you can definitely get one for the scripts. That is
Oh, yeah.
that'll get you started and let you do casual crafting.
Yeah. For some reason, all of the actual leveled gear in the cosmic exploration that you can buy is just the standard stuff you get off the merchants, of the vendors rather.
Mhm.
There doesn't seem to be any gear you can get for cosmic exploration that is specifically there to boost your levels. There's glams, just gear with no stats, but yeah, it's all basically cosmetics you're going for, and a way to power level your crafters and gatherers. So really, that's all there is to it. There is a silly little story that goes along with it, where you've got a Loperate who wants to just go around and name things. So naming way.
I see.
That's his whole purpose in life. He's just to name things.
Why
And
lock
he's
it so
incredibly
much?
autistic about it, as the Loperates tend to be. There are also gathering fates, which lets you get your basic currencies and stuff, so you can just buy pretty things.
Those were in
But
the diadem as well. I'm pretty sure.
they were also in the diadem. The special case of this one is once you get 1,000 of the local currency, you can buy a robot license, and you can enter the fate in a robot instead, which will get you a bigger payout and just bigger rewards. There's not really. Oh, it also gives you a ticket to the Wheel of Fortune as well. But it's stupid actually, because you can buy a ticket to the Wheel of Fortune for 1,000 credits, or you can buy a robot license for 1,000 credits.
Yeah, but
And that robot license will more often than not give you a ticket to the big Wheel of Fortune.
is the robot license permanent once you buy it?
No, it's a single use thing.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as you get a gold contribution, the payout's worth doing it. It's not complicated. They don't really ask you to do anything beyond pressing 1 or 2 buttons. And it's just there are different things in the fate that you interact with in the robot. But that's about it. It's gathering content. It's not challenging.
I would be worried if it was.
Yes. The other bit of content, well, actually, they put out the 7.5 patch, and now everyone's got to go through their glamour dresser. So there's that.
Ah.
The reason being is now a lot of gear can either be stacked into a set, or, in case of dungeon gear, be stuck into the armoire. So it frees up a crap ton of space.
I really wish it's nice that they're working on making that stuff fit better in the armoire and stack up better to free up space, but they really, really, really should take a look at just recoding the whole thing to allow you to quick do that. Because that is for me that is going to be a multi-hour project.
Like, as much as we can pee on World of Warcraft, their glamour system, their transmog system, They've got it down. It's like you pick up a piece of gear, you just get the unlock. It's there for you. You don't need to store it. You don't need to do anything like that. It's just there when you want it. And then you can still sell the piece of gear. But apparently it's all to do with how glamours are stored.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Apparently they go into a pocket inventory.
Yeah, I know the excuse they've given, and that's the part of the reason the housing districts are the way they are, and why they had to do apartments. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, spaghetti code.
yeah. I understand their reasoning. I can even understand how it got that way if I think about the code a little bit. They really need to just sit down and redo it.
They really do.
And yeah, it'll be a pain in the butt. You'll have to make an entire database just separate for check that its only job is to check what people have. Yeah, this is going to take a couple hundred man hours, but it's worth it. Not
Yeah,
get
just
off the moon to get the echo.
just bite the bullet, do the thing. I got die. So that's another thing they've done actually is they've compressed all the dies. So instead of all of those different dies, you just have 3 primary kinds of die now.
Yeah, I think you mentioned this before,
Yeah.
or that
So
they
you've
were
got your
doing it. I
standard.
don't know if they had done it yet.
They've just done it.
Okay.
So it's in there now. So you've got your standard dies, you've got your Ishgardian exploration dies, and you've got the cosmic exploration dies. And beyond that, you've got the limited edition ones, which is all the cash shop ones or the ones you go out and farm and sell to make ridiculous amounts of money.
Can't get my echo vol. I'm stuck.
Yeah, well, you should stop being so smug about not needing to walk on the ground like the rest of us.
No, must be diva.
But you're also showing feet.
Well, I'm more staring.
Prominently.
I'm more staring at the echo, trying to figure out how to get down. The feet are above in that case.
Mm.
While Hiyuki's on
yeah.
stuff so fast, I don't have time to dump my bow ammo.
All right, the other bit of content I've dipped a toe into, and only just a toe, because there's a lot of lead in into it because of it, is Olcott Crescent, the new field exploration zone.
Mm-hmm.
It's Bosja in a lot of ways. The biggest difference is instead of your phantom skills now, you just have phantom jobs.
Yeah.
Which you level up individually. And they just come with a set of skills.
I mean, I get the idea they're going for. The innate appeal of the Baj's skills, though, just sounds like a better idea to me. Like I wish they'd evolved on that, because I like playing the same classes but with a twist.
Yeah. This allows you to do some degree of that, but generally when you start out, the job is basically useless. Like you start off with the Bard, and it just gives your group a 1% damage boost when you use its ability. That's all you get. It's not until you invest and level up that they actually become good. The Bosja ones, they're good right from the get-go, but that whole system is just a headache, honestly.
Yeah,
That's how it's put together.
All I wanted them to do was streamline the ability process. No, you think that's complicated? You should see how it started, because remember, there is Eureka, and they did this. The system started there.
The system did start there, and Eureka has that ridiculous element wheel thing.
Yeah. You want to go look up a chart for what elements to put in the converter to get the ability you want every single time you want one copy of an ability?
I do not. Because I have better things to do, like not doing that.
And then you want a chance for it to fail?
Yes. Whoever came up with a lot of the stuff in Eureka, who hurt you? Just why?
Like, Baja was such a good logical step forward from Eureka. Like, we had this cool old school MMO throwback zone, and fun ideas to let you play classes but with a twist.
In actual community.
Yeah, well, the current Eureka community, I don't know if I would call them a community as much as Hellspawn But
Well, I mean, they became that way once they realized that they could be elitist.
yeah, if you are a BA gatekeeper or a Pago Scribbling, I have no sympathy for you. I don't mind the other areas. The third and the first zone are fine, but the BA gatekeepers and the Pago Scriblins can go DIAF.
Yeah. Okay, apparently there's a whole system in stellar exploration that I haven't even looked at yet, which is the artifact system. I don't know what that is because I haven't gotten any of it yet.
I just did my glass cannon impression.
I was flying towards you while I was trying to think of stuff with Baja, and you must have teleported really far away.
I just got, I just lost 2/3 of my health to one hit from a regular elite.
Oh yeah, that happens. The Galbrina effect.
Yeah, I haven't played very many glass cannon characters except Carlotta, who's very long ranged.
Oh, well, enjoy. You're going to get whopped.
You would think that Galbrina would have range. She has guns. No. She has
No.
one long range move, and it's the third hit of her enhanced combo.
Why though? She has gun.
Yeah, but she does breakdancing with the guns and does Dante Gunslinger BS.
Yeah.
They gave her rain dance for no reason, just because it's cool.
You need to style on your enemies before you kill them.
You do. It does count as a unique move if for some reason you've lost your S rank and need to get it back. Because, we had to just stick the Devil May Cry letter grade system as a system mechanic in Galbrina. Because
reasons.
I love it. It's so on the nose that it's amazing.
They knew exactly what they were doing. I gotta love it. So that's basically been my week. It's been a whole big old boring time because, with the ridiculous cost of fuel, we are not actually getting a Grey Nomad season this year.
Oh, not a whole lot of people.
Nobody wants to drive out into the middle of nowhere to see the same color of dust you can see everywhere else.
And to pay $250 to fill a tank. Yeah. Though we do still get the occasional person who shows up in an electric vehicle, and yeah, that's always interesting.
Like,
Are there any charges in your town? Can you even theoretically charge it enough to go somewhere relevant?
There are charges. The state government actually built a network of charges, so you can theoretically drive from anywhere to anywhere in Queensland.
don't take any detours.
Yeah, don't take any detours into any small little towns, otherwise you're going to have to mooch off someone. And also, you're going to be stopping to charge like every 4 hours, and you're going to be stuck there overnight, no matter where you are.
Yeah, every time I see like somebody try and seriously present a journey somewhere in an electric car, it always turns into hijinks.
Yes. These are the same people who drive around with a diesel generator in the boot. There is a Volkswagen, no, sorry, it's a BMW that actually, they've just called it a hybrid, but that's all they've done is just built a diesel generator into the boot. And they call that a hybrid.
I mean, it's not that far away from a conventional hybrid, I guess, just with more steps.
With more completely unnecessary steps, yes. This is why you don't buy BMWs. Just don't.
But how are you supposed to show off how bourgeois you are?
Bourgeois? You can buy a Renault.
I see a lot of...
I'm not sure if Renault's actually any better.
used BMWs, like really old ones, are really popular at the used car lots here because they can't.
Oh yeah.
They can't ever sell them, so they always get taken down dirt cheap. So you see a lot of ancient BMWs that have not been maintained because they were just bought for like $10,000 at a used car dealership.
That's because BMWs and all luxury cars basically value like milk.
Yeah, because anybody who can afford to buy them is like a new car buyer.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not going to. There's this. Well, I mean, to be fair, there's a particular class of aging Mercedes Benz that are very, very popular.
Yeah.
Like there's certain ones from like the 70s and 80s that people just like, and
Because
in
those
fact
things
are
never
willing to pay.
die.
Yeah, that people are willing to pay quite a bit to get their hands on one. But modern like BMWs are just a fashion statement, and you can't make a fashion statement with last year's fashion. So
Yeah. So any resale value you have of them just drops straight off the cliff the moment it leaves the lot. So yeah, it's just don't. I'll be quite happy with a Toyota, thank you, because I know I can get parts and get it fixed and it will work. Also, I'm never buying a Ford again. There's that too.
Oh, I bet Ford's hard to get parts for in y'all's part of the world, ain't it?
It is, and they seem to have planned obsolescence built into the damn things.
I'll Ford trucks. My family's never had any problems with. Ford cars have been a pain in the butt.
Yeah. You had the AU Falcon in Australia, and that was as good as it got because that thing also never dies. But you see a Ford Ranger on the road in Australia, and you just steer well clear of it because you know that whoever's in that driver's seat is an absolute wanker.
I mean, you
and
see,
also you're not going to be able to pay the insurance cost if they hit you.
Yes, because it's not insured.
you see
I miss the
somebody
robot.
driving a Ford
I miss the-
F-150 here or something. It's one of two people. It's one of them people that need to make sure the tourists moving in know that there is a class of people here that does not give a crap about their prissy little vehicles and that their truck is in fact bigger, and they're going to make sure you know it. Those people are okay. There are construction workers who genuinely use the big F off truck for big F off truck reasons. And
Mhm.
then there are the people that get those things just to be obnoxious to everybody.
The F-150 is kind of in that category of truck in Australia where it's like, if you're not towing anything, why bother? You're doing it to show off.
Yes.
If you need a truck, you should be driving a Hilux.
You should be
Like,
driving a Hilux.
just drive a Hilux. Anything else shows that you're a retard, basically. Like, because the Hilux does everything that all of the luxury brand trucks do, except it's not going to cost even a fraction as much, and it will work for 10 times as long.
The parts to keep it going are dirt cheap.
Yeah, that's why they use them as technicals in the Middle East,
Yeah,
because you can't destroy them.
they just don't. They just keep on going. Although some of the newer Hiluxes are starting to drop off a little bit.
Oh, I mean, that's more a new car problem. Like, that's
It
because they've
is.
added electrics that nobody asked for.
Yeah, made it impossible to repair. Put the just basic repairs now cost you more and more the newer your car is because the mechanic will just tell you yeah, I can't actually reach, you know, the oil cap anymore or something incredibly basic like that. Change your oil.
Yes. Some engineer got a great idea and requires you to now dismantle half the car to take the battery out.
Yeah, there's some you legitimately have to unbolt the motor to get the battery out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking my car to be
Um,
serviced tomorrow because the starter is lagging, and I'm like, this is probably because I haven't changed my oil in 6 years.
yeah, that might do it. You probably should do that before
Yeah.
it turns to pudding.
It's probably pudding already. That's why the starter is lagging on the disengage. Like once in
Yep.
a while, particularly if it's really cold, and it will start fine and it will run fine. But in the part between starting and running,
You get the sound.
it's only about 1 second, but it's a horrible grinding of tormented metal, and I don't want it to keep happening. So I need
The car is screaming.
I need not to have custard instead of oil.
Yes, you should probably do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it tomorrow. I booked in for it.
The dealerships and the repair shops are all going to tell you, you need to change your oil and rotate your tires like every 4 months because they want to get more money out of you. As long as you just run it up there, like, just, I make it a yearly trip in January, just after New Year's rush and return season's over, just go take my car up to the muffler shop and be like, hey, change my oil, rotate my tires, tell me if anything else is wrong. And
All right, hang on. There's something I need to check. Sorry, I just got reminded of something in Final Fantasy. And I do not have it. Apparently, there's an auto backpack that some people have just been randomly given. It's a bug. I just saw someone run
Yeah.
past with it.
There was a bit of a meme about that online.
Actually, come here, you. I want to see what your glam is.
Just after the live thing about the idea that Yoshi P gets home from doing the presentation, and then there's like, sir, we've got a bit of an issue. We've accidentally given everybody the auto backpack.
Yeah, which isn't even supposed to be in the game yet. Ah, well. It'll disappear sooner or later, probably.
Turkey.
Do not have any spin the wheel tickets. Okay, fine. Incidentally, I'm also flat broke in this game because all my money went poof. Disappeared into the ether.
As it do.
As it do when you have a house and you don't go back and reclaim that money. It doesn't stay there forever. It disappears after 35 days. So yeah, that I'm going to leave my week at because there's not a whole lot else to talk about.
Yeah, Ari and I did discuss some of the sort of the class revamp strategies at length after you left last
Oh,
show,
yep.
and then later as we I found some information that people had carefully pieced together from watching the videos carefully. And yes, I can see where they're coming from with the idea that they are technically dehomogenizing it, but they're using the same dehomogenization strategy for every class, as far as I can see.
So
So
far, yes.
that basically means that they're just rehomogenizing to something different.
Yes. Everything is differently the same now.
But I can sort of understand the strategy, because it seems like basically they're shackling a lot of what they're doing to real time. Like, you spend a certain amount of time in combat to generate resources rather than needing, a set of builder spenders for gauge 1, a set of builder spenders for gauge 2, a set of builder spenders for gauge 3, etc.
Yep.
But yeah, while some of the ideas look promising, it's like, well, homogenization is not solved until every class has been given its own unique identity. So selectively picking one from each role and presenting a new method of playing that class is literally no different to what you did the last time, because you haven't shown us that the others are different.
No,
Just that
that's
you've
right.
changed the classes again.
There is that whole bit about main tank and off tank, which I think the terminology is actually wrong, but
Well, the thing is, I couldn't tell whether they were just trying to give an arbitrary meaning to terminology, or whether they're actually changing something.
they are. They're using the wrong terminology. I think it's just a translation thing, but
But
it looks
because
like
if you just take them at face value, it sounds like they're saying that there's only going to be 2 jobs in the entire game that can take a punch from a boss.
yeah, the two different flavors of tank now. So they
No, 2
dehomogenized tanks.
tanks, not 2 flavors of
tank.
tank. 2 tanks.
2 tanks, yes.
Because off tank is not a tank. Off tank
Yeah.
gets killed when they have to hold the boss for more than 10 seconds. That's what off tank is. Everybody who's been in the MMO game for a while knows that the off tank is the guy who can tank for a moment in a pinch if necessary.
Or is the one who's there just to eat the big tank buster.
There's a reason the off
Yep.
tank is always assigned to the secondary targets.
Yeah.
The ones
And
that
that's
don't
what's
hit as
making me
hard.
think. That's what's making me think that it's a translation error, is because that makes zero damn sense to do that.
Yes,
Like-
I mean, if they're trying to turn off tank into some weird neologism that means something, like, well, they should have just come up with their own in-game terminology for it.
Yeah.
Because how,
I think
and also, like, how is that how is that going to be grokked by a new person? Like, how are they going to understand when everybody you've got 5 classes or whatever? Is it 5? They're going for 5, right? If you've
5
got
tanks.
5 jobs that all have the same icon, how is somebody new going to understand that there are 2 of one type and 3 of the other?
Didn't work for
they
healers.
if their actual capabilities are different.
Yeah. There is a slide that is going around that explains it a bit better. It looks like the main tanks are all about damage mitigation, whereas the off tanks are about reducing the incoming damage.
I mean, that's
But
literally
that's a distinction without a difference, and that's
It
not
is.
what that's not in total what they said.
No,
That's
it's not.
like that's trying to put an apologetic spin on what they actually said, because what they actually said is that the off tank is going to be concerned with the group, not with the boss.
Which again really just makes no damn sense. Why would you do that?
So so what you're saying basically is that the holy warrior with his healing spells ignores the group and tanks the boss, and the little ball of rage who can only like tunnel vision their enemies is concerned with buffing the group. It's like, this doesn't make any sense from any perspective. I'm sorry, it just
It
doesn't.
doesn't. You got some splaining to do, Yoshi P. And if they're doing this with the tanks, what are they going to do with the healers? They're going to try the prevention healers again, or whatever they ended up calling them.
well, the current model
Well, I
they
mean,
have is 2 shielders and 2 raw healers, and it runs into the same issue that you do every time you do this, where the raw healers are better for comfort and casual content, and the shielder healers are almost universally better in every application, unless the encounter shills for the opposite in actual content.
You're trying to balance for 2 completely different types of healing.
And it's also just you're not doing very much different right now. Their big problem with the healers right now is a bunch of their buttons are literally exactly the same, just like tanks.
Yes.
yeah, I've gone through the changes that they are planning for White Mage, and I understand where they're coming from, but this will require that if they want the changes that they are proposing to actually mean anything and to actually take with the player base in a meaningful way, they're going to have to totally redesign every boss in the game.
Yeah, because
Like
just
all of the at every level of content, their boss behavior will need to be different compared to what it currently is.
well, just think about what like their favorite mechanic is for tanks right now, the multi-tank buster. How's that work when you have some dedicated tank classes that just can't take a punch as good?
Yeah.
Like, what if your group rolls? And another thing they have with it, they are already starving for a tanks in the game. Like nobody wants to tank in the game. Like this is a problem since time immemorial. Nobody wants to be the guy that deals with the group and wants to be the tank. So you're always going to have you're always going to have a tank shortage. And if you make it so there are now only 2 classes that can be main tank, you are just making that problem exponentially worse.
Yes.
And if you say we're doing a level of content division, right? Like this is not going to be relevant in dungeons, it's only be relevant in Savage. Well, all that's going to do is create toxicity at the Savage level, because there'll be that type of tank we don't want.
Yeah, and if you try to balance their damage around it, you would have to make it a rather noticeable difference if you went that route. It's a really bad idea. I hope they don't do that. But you make the off tanks do more damage. Immediately, what you're going to see is the Savage groups trying to find a way to not use the main tanks.
Take off tanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because we've seen this before. Like, that's the thing, right? Like, every mistake that Squeenix makes is a mistake Blizzard already made.
Mm-hmm.
Which just makes me incredulous that they keep going back to drink from the same trough. Like, not bring the player, not the class. Like that's where the homogenization comes from, right? Ultimately, is bring the player, not the class. That we've done this arc before. We've seen it in a leading MMO, worldwide leading MMO. That this is not sustainable because it erodes class identity to the point that people just don't care about classes anymore.
Yeah, we and
you end up with just grey paste.
And just like with WoW, when they went bring the player, not the class, like it sounded good on paper. Like okay, maybe there's some potential of this when you don't know. The difference is we've seen this now. We have a live example that we lived through back in World of Warcraft. We know exactly how it went. We saw how it went in Final Fantasy when they homogenized it. And trying to go down that route of just bring the player, not the class, but don't worry, we're totally adding class identity back. We're just going back to like, what's a good WoW expansion that's a good parallel? I feel like there is one.
It probably is.
Well, most people feel like the peak for class expression was Pandaria, and I don't think any of us were really playing then.
Yeah.
Not really, no. Because it was after Pandaria that the homogenization really started to bite hard.
Well, it's because they realized that they'd created so many creative mechanics in Pandaria that they weren't comfortable that they were in control anymore. But the thing is that everybody remembers like the Throne of Thunder era as being incredible. Even though it was the least lore consequential raid in the game. Although they have tried to make it instrumental to the story now.
Because it's
Tried.
because it was so
Yeah,
popular.
the stuff that they just apparently the Blood Elves discovered some stuff in there that is like key to the meaningless void fuckery that they're indulging in at the moment.
They do love to suck on the moss at the bottom of the barrel, don't they?
I don't know what they think they're doing, but suffice to say, people don't seem to be very happy with World of Warcraft right now.
They're really not interested.
Not that this differs from any other part of history.
Yeah. I mean, they tried to go down the feet route as well with their new bad guy. Except she's there for like 5 minutes of the entire last expansion. She shows up, she shows her feet, and then she disappears, and that's about it. This what's her name? Zalatath.
I mean, she's Naifu, right?
She is Naifu. She has
Right.
her evil knife, and she has her feet, and that's
But she is the evil
depth of her
knife.
character. I guess.
Like the knife was basically her house, right?
I think. But yeah.
Like in Legion, when you're if you're a shadow priest, you're basically toting her around while she gives color commentary.
Oh yeah, that's right. I had Murray, who was superior in every way.
I
So
am Murray,
yeah,
the all-powerful demonic skull.
yes, that Murray. So yeah, I haven't heard anyone saying, well, actually anything either way of the new expansion. It's just kind of there.
I've heard mainly negative things. Basically, the whole thing is just a shambolic mess of bugs, as per usual,
Yeah.
and the story is cringe. And
So water is wet.
yeah, but basically everything about it sounds more or less the same as what we're used to, and that basically they have no talent, and that's the problem. The writers don't have any talent. Like, I feel bad for the coders because they're constantly laboring to try and do this unreasonable stuff, but none of it has any hope of success because the people doing the fundamental design don't know what they're doing. From what I've heard from the commentators on the topic that are still doing WoW content, it seems like the core problem right now is brain drain. Like,
Yeah.
there's no talent left at the company, and what's more, the staff retention is so bad that when they learn a lesson, the lesson doesn't stay learned. So they go back and repeat fundamental mistakes of design that they already solved because all of the people who knew how to solve it have gone. And so they just go and create the same mistake that they did previously. And this just happens over and over. I still kind of follow it out of morbid fascination more than anything else, because it's a sort of like World of Warcraft is now a cautionary tale on how you can rule the world and then watch your empire disintegrate. But it
Yes.
seems that Final Fantasy is hell-bent on also being a cautionary tale of same.
I mean, yeah. I feel like I've said most of what can be said about what they've demonstrated so far up front, because
I think we have so far because there's so much we just don't know at this point.
I struggle to come up with more meaningful commentary because it's just they need radical change right now. What they showed doesn't look to be that radical change.
and it doesn't even necessarily constitute a foundation for radical change either. That's the thing. Their sort of risk averseness is going to be the death of them.
Yeah. Like squashing the button bloat, yes, good. That's step one. Okay, now what next?
My feeling is that they're trying to look for a solution that doesn't carry the risk of people not liking it, which I think is a completely nonsensical thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's nowhere in life that you can find that.
The
Yeah.
correct solution to this problem is some classes will simply be missing tools and not be as good in some encounters. Like that is the solution. That is where we get
They should have, started it off like, well, what's the simplest and easiest thing to do? Well, first we'll take away everybody's cooldowns and then give them back one by one to the person who's got the most appropriate use case for them.
take all the universal crap out that every class has that we've just given them for just to make sure everybody has utility stuff. And like the first thing that comes to mind is every tank doesn't need a gap closer.
So when I was playing World of Warcraft back in the day, like half of the game for my small guild was working out how to overcome the challenge with the tools available, because we didn't have everything the way the big guilds did. So it's like, well, what can we do? We're like the only guild on the server who's like unironically running resto shamans as our main healing source, because that just happens to be what our people like to play. So how are we going to get through this using just resto shamans who have built nothing but MP5 since Karazhan?
And
Yeah.
player ability at outside of the MLG, pro tryhard levels, is such a factor in stuff that it's like, okay, we may have only resto shamans, but one of them is really fracking good and the rest are all kind of bad. But we can probably make it work because this guy can do this crazy stuff with resto shaman, or we have this one warlock or this one beastmaster hunter that really knows how to do damage, and we might be able to squeak something out if they're there to make that particular day. There's player ability there too that can compensate for a class's weaknesses in a certain fight. And I don't know if you ever had this experience, but when I was leading guilds back in Burning Crusade through like Karazhan and stuff, and I was stuck on B teams, you would just find cool stuff you could do that you normally wouldn't do in the fights. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Like,
I think everyone's had
compared to
a good moment like that.
Compared to the meta at the time, like we had people like there, because this is before you could just like change spec on a whim. So we had like MS Arms Warriors and SLSL locks and that sort of thing in our raid team, because people ran out of gold or whatever.
yeah, if you get stuck with the B or the C team, you wind up with weird stuff like, okay, the hunter's kiting everything on Morose because he's the only good player we got on the team that's not one of the tanks.
But he
For
can
me,
kite.
it was
He
pull
can
out,
kite like a
pull out the
boss.
Void Walker and take the boss for a walk.
Yeah, like we are not doing this the way it's intended at all. But
And they were way more creative back then as well, because remember it was like standard for the Spite to use a lock tank.
Yeah, it was fun actually, because it was one of the few fights that actually behaved differently.
yeah, it was like that and the one boss in Serpent Shrine Cavern where Warlocks got to tank.
Like I was the third string Karazhan team, and we were able to beat Netherspite before any of the other teams in the guild. And the main reason was that we all were rocking PvP builds.
Yeah.
Like that's the
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of environment that builds memories and has meaningful choice on your class that you choose to play in the game. And Final Fantasy doesn't even fall into the same trap of you're stuck with something if the class is not particularly good right now, because you could level every class on your character.
I didn't even know Yuno could heal.
Yeah, if I spin bow juice, I can heal.
It's like that's the only thing that's keeping me alive, because I keep getting domed for like half my health.
Yeah, you get some healing if you're in my full moon zone that you can't see because you can't see my skybox. and whenever I spin my bow juice near you.
Where am I headed? Wrong direction. We go this way.
I don't know if I can shield you. Shield specifically say herself, I think. I don't
Oh
think
my
she.
goodness, these things! They do too much damage!
I would love to, but I'm currently a million miles up in the air. Okay. I'm coming.
I have no HP. Everything is terrible.
You're gonna get whopped.
I'm out of moonbow juice. Oh, I can put the moon up.
All right.
Right. Where are we?
Oh no. Fern's Week, talking about Final Fantasy.
I'm done now. So yeah, basically at this point everyone's kind of in a holding pattern as to what to do next.
I feel bad poo-pooing during Fern's Week so much because I sound like a super negative Nancy when Final Fantasy comes up right now.
I mean, for
That's
good reason.
And that's the only thing you're doing right now. Like, I want to sound more positive, but just
They need to earn it.
Gosh,
I'm sorry,
they
they
do
have
need
to
to
earn
earn
it.
I can't. They're
Like,
not showing me what I want to
I'm not-
see.
I'm not investing heavily in Final Fantasy. It's just kind of a background thing. So let's go to that one. Pick the wheel, spin the wheel. I'm probably going to get die, but I'm going to spin the wheel. So yeah, it's just everyone's waiting on the next fan fest when we're going to get some actual, hopefully, more important details on a lot of
Yeah,
stuff.
I haven't really. I guess the algorithm doesn't think I care much about Final Fantasy 14 anymore, and that's not inaccurate. But I haven't been able to gauge what the reception was like to the reveals as they are so far.
Generally positive, but skeptical as well.
Yeah, but the thing is that positivity has been the problem, hasn't it?
Yes.
Like that's what among all the things that the Final Fantasy community is known for, the number one thing is toxic positivity.
Yup. So it's just gonna happen. So we'll see.
Yeah,
I've seen plenty of people just poo-pooing on the changes as well.
I mean, that's not really
Like,
helpful.
no,
We
like a lot of
we
people
don't
just
have the
saying,
context.
yeah, the big one, of course, saying that the evolve mode is just going to be easy mode. It's like,
Uh,
yeah,
I
I can
mean,
see where you're getting that idea, but
I'm still not really clear on like. Do, I'm not really clear on what it means, and I became less clear on it the more information that I found out.
there's just a lot we don't know. Is the problem?
Yeah, because it was like, well, I mean, so does that mean that the original version is going to be like the we didn't revamp the classes version, or what? Or is
Yeah.
it just going to be buttons double up on evolved mode and that's all? Like, it's really, really terribly unclear.
Yes.
and people can poo-poo it all they want, but and say, well, you should be playing on mouse and keyboard. Well, the game wasn't designed that way. The game was
Neither are
designed
hands.
lagging like a ball.
You too, huh?
Yeah,
Okay, so it's not just me.
Yeah, I'm having difficulty.
Yeah.
I thought it was just because I'm the guest or something.
I'm
Probably.
all of a sudden the game just appears to be having server shoes.
Yeah. Like saying just go play on mouse and keyboard is an idiot's argument. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is, there are some classes right now just unplayable on controller or near unplayable.
Well,
Yeah.
even if you say I'll play on mouse and keyboard, I do play on mouse and keyboard, and I have a Razer Naga.
Yeah. And I
And
still run
it's
out of
not
buttons.
sufficient. It's just not sufficient.
Yeah. I run out of buttons or I'm using too many buttons and it's just not comfortable.
Yeah, and the simple fact of the matter is, it does not add or detract very much skill to take buttons that you push in sequence and simply make them one button that you will always
No.
push in sequence every single time.
It's more just a matter of convenience and comfort.
Yeah, because like the process is still there. It's just now all fits on your controller.
Yeah. You just set that to your X or your A button and away you go.
That lives on the square button.
Yeah, that's your basic combo. That's 3 buttons crossed down to 1. That's a big improvement already.
Yeah, like
Are they going to put Wildfire and Hypershot on the same button? Not Wildfire, Overheat.
like I installed a mod for how much I was playing Machinist for button combos just for that button because it was the most
Yes.
nonsensical, stupid thing not to have transform of all the transforming buttons they already had.
Yeah. So why would you not do that?
And I on controller at least, all 4 of my right face buttons on right trigger were always bound to that class's main combo. And it would sometimes stretch into the D-pad as well if it got to like we were doing samurai stuff. And that's the
You're in trouble
prime.
if you're playing Monk, by the way,
Yeah, well, Monk it was the D-pad and the face buttons.
because
Well,
your base combo is 6 buttons.
yeah, well, that way with samurai too.
Yeah. So the thing is Monk is 6 buttons, but you don't have too much else to worry about beyond that.
Monk had a whole lot of other. Monk was complicated. It was the autism class. There was a lot.
It was the autism class.
They had the chakrams and they had the colors of chakra and they had the dragon meter. Like they had
Oh, that's all still there.
They had so much. Well, now it's all very streamlined, and you just literally press the glowy button.
You press the glowy button when Dragon Meter is full. You press the glowy button, and then you just make sure that the color your Skittles mechanic is always on cooldown.
Yeah, when they complain about simplification, I think about things like what they did to Monk, especially because Monk was for the autists, people that like Monk. And
I think the bigger example on that is Summoner, Old Summoner.
well, that's a total class change. Like they replaced old summoner with new summoner. That isn't a rework so much. It doesn't.
That's a replace. Yeah.
It doesn't resemble the old class in any way, shape, or form.
You still put a carrot on your head. That's about it.
Yeah, the old monk had a whole lot of stuff with you could do to make interesting decisions during combat. At the last second, if the pack was almost dead, you could double AOE instead of taking the path to the optimal combo on your chakrams if you haven't stocked up. You could do the Dragon Kick WAP combo if you just needed to drop a single target right now really fast instead of doing the builder combo. There was weird autistic crap like that all over Monk that allowed for players that really sat down and understood the class thoroughly to do really cool stuff with it. They took all that away with New Monk. Now you have to follow the glowy buttons or you don't get any bonuses.
You follow the glowy buttons, and if you got your 3 colors, you turn on the blue button, and then you turn on the white button, and then you get your big whop, and you start over. I don't mind. As much as I'm peeing on it, I don't mind New Monk. I find it just kind of relaxing to play.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I don't know what they're attempting to do. Are they just trying to close the gap between skilled players and unskilled players, or what? Because the changes have to be to address somebody's needs, right? Otherwise, there's no profit case to be made.
I did
Make any adjustment.
I did some thinking about that a while ago, and I never was able to quite finish. I saw your Sakura Blooms that time, for some reason. But I was never able to quite finish the thought. But my brain got stuck on a track of during Endwalker, there was no Baja or anything to do. There was no relic to grind. It was just tomes. So everybody was just kind of leveling classes properly in normal ass content. And they probably got a lot of complaints, especially from the recent influx of World of Warcraft players at the expansion launch, that Monk was just too hard of a class to play and they didn't understand. And they got a lot of positive.
Monk was also the lowest played class at the time.
And they probably
by a wide margin.
They probably got a lot of feedback that was positive about new Summoner because of the new animations. So they probably did it because of that.
Yeah.
Now,
'Cause it seems
haven't
to
s-
me like if what you're trying to do is simplify things, it seems like the norm would be to go for something like fighting game auto combos, right? Where it can you get to you effect an effective combo that is easy to access, and you get to feel like you're cool and play the game, and you get reasonable performance. But anybody who actually knows the game can outplay somebody who's just hitting that auto combo button over and over under
yeah.
normal circumstances.
yeah.
That seems like what you would want to go for, rather than actually just removing all of the parts that add complexity and depth to a class.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
the real headbanger for me was why in the world did they simplify Paladin?
It's not like it was terribly complicated to start with.
No, it was
Like, you could make it more complicated if you wanted to, but most of that was that was gilding the lily for the most part.
I mean, it could be fun to autism mulger dot snapshotting, but I mean, it wasn't necessary at all. And it was just
And it would just help you do more DPS. It wouldn't like if you couldn't do that, it didn't actually affect your role.
yeah. It was just something to stand out a bit more and show that you mained this class and have sat down and autism it. That's all it was there. All you could really do with it, and it served that niche fine. All the other tanks played the way tanks do now. We had three other choices if you wanted to play that game, and they just decided no, all tanks need to play this game. Well, okay, well we had one that was left, and you just said no. It's not fair that paladins get to keep their unique stuff, and it doesn't line up with our 2 minute window, and nobody's taking them. So we gotta sit here and totally rejigger the whole class.
Gotta make sure we get the shiny boys in there.
Like
Yeah.
there is no world where the changes we're hoping they make everybody happy. In fact, for the Final Fantasy 14 community, they're gonna hate it if they do this. But
Probably.
it's literally the only way to save it at this point.
Well, I mean, that depends on which Final Fantasy community you're talking about, because a lot of them only care about the ERP side of the game.
Okay, well they don't.
They don't care either way.
Yeah, that they aren't going to have a positive or a negative opinion of it. And in fact, they probably won't even notice it unless it takes away RP animations that they had bound to whatever weird animation mods they have installed.
They pay more money
Yeah,
than anybody else because they buy all the cosmetics.
they do. They are glam fiends.
Well, I mean, they used to be. Maybe they aren't anymore because they probably just download graphical mods.
Yeah, there's that too.
Judging by the size of assets when the dude did the investigation in Limsa on his server, yeah, that most of them use mods for that particular
Do I
scene.
even want to know about that?
You don't want to know how many people in Limsa are using mods and what type of mods they're
No.
using.
No, I guess I do not.
No, you don't. You will be a happier person without that information.
Yes.
But I'll tell you right now, less than 60% would be generous and hopeful.
Ugh. Yeah, I've seen one or two screenshots of a woman walking around with what looked like hot air balloons stuffed down her blouse, and that was enough.
Oh,
Yeah.
the cat grills are far and away the most tame. The ones you got to watch out for are the auras in any of especially the male Bara cats. Male
Someone
are
who mains male Barakat, yeah, I am aware.
suck
Yeah,
this.
just
All I
playing
wanted
one of
was
those is
hats.
going to put you at risk of being propositioned by somebody.
I only wanted hats, and I did not consent to seeing some of those things on that mod site.
I
But yeah, hats are in the base game now, so it's all good.
yeah. So actually, what I've heard is the biggest spenders for 14 are literally like the girls for their microtransactions anyway. Like the people that buy the glams are the people that are too tech illiterate to do the mod thing and want to be social with it and show it off to their friends, and it's actually the actual GIRLs.
Mm.
Or the turbo fans. The people that buy literally the turbo whales as much as you can whale in
Whales.
14.
I guess you can just buy a lot of Fantasias, I guess.
I mean, you can buy like every mount in the shop and stuff. There are people that do that. You got those.
I mean,
Really?
we do that.
I bought the idol outfit because it was cute and I missed the event. So
Yeah, I would. I bought Lisa's outfit to get her hair, and I bought various miscellaneous stuff for like shoes and usually shoes, legs, and I think I got one top with an outfit that I wanted. But it would be outfit pieces that I would see that I'd be like, okay, I want those.
yeah, I need this so that I can recolor it for another outfit I'm doing.
Yeah,
Type
like,
of logic.
yeah, it was targeted purchases for a goal, not spending just because I need a new cute outfit. there was a plan ahead of time before going into the shop.
Yes.
You're not discovering your inner valley girl.
No. She probably exists in there somewhere. I just keep her locked up.
In chains, preferably, and buried very, very deep.
Yeah, you know how Noel, or not Noel, Moo, has the valley or the sea. You don't want to see what happens when you have the country or the sea, or the country, the country or the valley.
Well, doesn't the South have its own version of the Valley Girl anyway?
Yeah, just take Valley Girl and add y'alls to it. Get something pretty dang close.
That is concerning. That is.
You get Southern Belle speak.
Well, I mean, it used to be that 100 years ago they were more dignified than the Yankee version because most of them came from aristocratic stock.
Even if they didn't, it was still you there was social expectations on you to act like you were a civilized human being, despite what the media will tell you about the South.
Anyway, where were we?
Your week, I guess, because I'm done, and we keep circling the drain.
Yeah, I got no single player stuff to really talk about this week.
Me. Well, my week sucked balls. It was awful. I got audited, and I'm going to get audited again on this coming Wednesday because freaking bureaucracy just loves audits.
They'd love audits.
These people stay employed by auditing me over and over again. Me personally. Yeah, that's how it works. I don't know. I don't know what they're up to. I don't care. I'm fed up with everything. It sucks. But my reality currently is terrible, and it's continuing to circle the drain. Well, I mean, circling would imply it wasn't getting any worse, but it is. So anyway, I haven't had time to play much of anything. What did I do this week? I pulled for Hiyuki, which is why I'm playing Hiyuki now. And it is quite fun, but mainly fun in the way that she just, despite supposedly being a very stoic individual, that the stoicism appears to manifest itself by relentless aura farming. Her entire kit is aura farming.
You don't need to speak when you can just farm.
Yes. But yeah, she's quite fun to play, but she's quite rigid to play. Like if you want to proceed normally with a rotation with her, there's basically only one thing you can do. However, her toolkit in and of itself is actually quite expensive. There are lots of useful little things in it that have no purpose in an in-game rotation, like the ability to hang in the air at great length, the ability to, as far as anybody is aware, parry any attack in the game if your timing is good enough. It's just like under like in-game rotation circumstances, you're never going to find an opportunity to do that because it basically requires you to stand there aura farming until you or the bad guy blinks first, like that sort of thing. But it's technically possible. But yeah, she's a fun character to play, and I expect that for the people that really invest time in mastering her, she's going to become a premier character for people to just like autistically lab until they can kill anything effortlessly solo with her, because of the fact that, well, she's a character that sort of like presents in a way to reward that kind of play, in that she will shatter like fine glass if she gets touched by anything, but she has all of the tools required to be completely untouchable.
She's also a negative status character that has the ability to operate her kit without help.
She can, technically, but there's like a hard ceiling on, like, because she gets buffs depending on other characters applying negative status, like the need to be the other characters in the party that apply them.
Yeah,
She can't she can't access her entire kit on her own. She
but
does need allies.
but it's not like a case of like Ibenzani where
No,
n-
she doesn't need somebody else to hold her hand in order to play, but her stats will be worse,
yeah, and it's not a case.
basically.
It's not a case of cartwheel where while the damage is still sufficient because cartwheel is cartwheel, you're really playing handicapped without Chiakona sitting there putting on a concert.
She can do pretty decent by herself, and they lift a lot of the sort of like Acheron style, lift a lot of the restrictions as you go down the wave band chain.
Mhm.
Um, like you basically will be, uh, if you're dedicated to just playing her solo all the time and never using a team, you're going to want to invest wave bands in her, because they will allow you to simulate basically having access to a bigger group in a lot of cases. But yeah, they've undergone quite a lot of effort to make her animation spectacular. Like, since everybody who watches this will see Ari playing, they're not going to see most of the feature film bullcrap that she indulges in.
They give you a good bit of time in the main story, so you'll get plenty of time to see it then.
But yeah, like her idols, like she has at least one like post combat recovery animation idol, which brings letterbox bars at the top and bottom of the screen, just
Just
to
cause.
point out. Yeah, she's just aura farming. She's striking dramatic Miko poses, and that's what she does. Um, but yeah, she's quite fun to play. She's effective at what she does, um, but she is just a glass cannon. You're either going to need to do a perfect rotation with her, or be extremely good at dodging. And considering how ridiculously aggressive some of the new enemies are, that's going to be a chore in and of itself. Um, but yeah, she's quite fun to play, and when you use her, one of her moves in particular, the like her empowered heavy that she does in full claim state, um, it turns everywhere into a snow level, basically. Like there'll be snow in the air, and everywhere that you go will have a light dusting of frost over it, like in the world.
She's
It just
also
paints that over the world.
she's also like in that like half of her crap for seemingly no reason at all just gets the flag as this is also treated as liberation damage, just in case you weren't sure that Lene needed to be the best support of all time.
Yeah, so currently her best sub DPS is Lene. Like every other DPS in the game, practically. Like if you don't have Chisa, the only workable support shelf for her is Mornier Lene. You can't use Shorekeeper, you can't use Jeji, you can't use Yinlin. You have to use Mornier and Lene in concert. If you have Chisa, she's the best support for her, but Lene remains the best sub DPS. Like, Lene stonks are riding high right now.
Yeah,
um, yeah, she's just crazy effective in virtually every comp.
yeah, she's already good in for every team and can wheelchair anything. But if you have like a character like or Hyuki that just half of their kit for no, and more than half their kit for Yuno's case, like literally everything I do except for basic who basic attacks is just flagged as increase or this is liberation damage. Lene's stonks double for that character. It's nuts how much uh she provides to liberation damage and just generic buffs. Like anytime girlfriend's up, if you don't have her, you need to seriously consider getting her.
Yeah, if your concern is like character flexibility, Linnae is the most flexible sub DPS in the game, and it is not even slightly close.
I literally
Like
don't
she's
think
just crazy effective.
there is not a single team where it's just like, no, don't put Linnae in there unless like you're running like monofusion or something.
Yeah, I got her because I wanted Ameth, and I was like assuming that she would just be, oh, she's the Ameth support, and I want to run Ameth, so I better get Linnae. So I got Linnae. Least regrettable, forced decision in my life.
Well, now it's a case of, okay, Ameth's good enough with we can stick a dedicated support with her. Linnae is needed to buff up everybody else because she's so good.
Yeah.
She needs to go
So-
on another team and go help them.
Yeah, everybody fights over Linnae's attention at this point. That's how it goes. But yeah, so at present, she's the optimal sub DPS for Hiyuki. I don't actually think it will stay that way. I think that she's going to get her own one, and that own one. And the part of the reason I think that is that Hiyuki has really chronic issues with energy regen. She basically she feels like playing Carlotta in a lot of ways. She's Carlotta with a sword instead of a gun in the way she plays. In that you are going to hit a certain point where you're like, my energy though, where's my energy? And that's currently where I am, since I just crapped together a bunch of whatever echoes I had on hand before the show, and even like favoring energy regen, I ended up with only a little bit. So alting is hard.
Does she have a wave band that helps fix that? Like Yuno's first wave band helps a little bit
No.
with hers.
No. You're always going to have energy issues. End of story. You build it into your echoes,
Okay.
or else.
Okay.
Which is why, because there's no access to any wave bands to solve her chronic energy issues, is why people feel like she's probably going to get like a Glacio Chafe support. And the other reason is that there's a buff in her kit that is currently inaccessible. Like you can't get it with any combination of characters in the game at present. So it is assumed that you need to get somebody else to enable it. And that is something that like you need to have a party of characters that all have either the ability to apply Havoc Bane or Glacio Chafe. But Hiyuki's the only Glacio Chafe character in the game, and Chise is the only Havoc Bane character in the game. So it's pretty much obligatory that there has to be somebody else to fill that middle slot other than Linnae. They added some limited synergies with Linnae though, like if you've got somebody to apply Linnae's tune related debuffs in the party, you gain a limited amount of benefit from that. It's not as high as if you went straight down the debuff path the way she's clearly designed for, but it's still like non-zero. They've actually gone out of the way to give her special buffs when you play her with Linnae and when you play her with Mornier. But if you don't have Chise and you do want to use Linnae with her, Mornier is way better than any of the others, and you basically can't use Mornier as her support unless you're coupling her with Linnae, or you'll lose performance. So yeah, she's a very, very team-locked character at present in a lot of ways, unless you just happen to have the universal Mornier Linnae shell on you. If you've got that, then you're golden.
She's also the very first Glacio Chafe character.
Yeah, because they're trying to roll out debuffs as more of a thing. But, you know, there's two characters that could potentially occupy that space just coming down the line, being Lucilla, who nobody really knows what element she's going to be yet, and Suisi, who is Yang Yang's sister, who is consistently rumored to be Glacio, although nobody knows anything else about her. So, yeah. But I would assume that Suisi is designed to work with SP Yang Yang, who is rumored to be a 5-star Havoc character. So, yeah, it could be that they're they're going to have another Havoc Bane option as well. Although 2 Havoc Bane characters, Havoc Bane doesn't stack, so it's kind of doesn't make sense that way.
Does Chise
Like,
let
Havoc
it
Bane is gonna be-
overstack cap?
Havoc Bane is like the if you look at the way those debuffs work, like the one that Chisa applies, there is a fixed amount of extension to stack sizes. Like you can't put more stack size extenders in a group and get the stack to just keep ramping up. You get capped. You're allowed to extend a stack usually by like 3 or 6 or something. I can't remember the number. And beyond that, you don't get more extensions. So you can't stack anyone with Chisa to get more stacks of a thing. The only other way to extend stacks is by having a wave band that allows you to do it or something like that. It's got to be intrinsic to the character's kit. But yeah, so Hiyuki is quite fun to play. I bought the wave band on her simply because that counter interrupt wave band is just worth its weight in gold, basically, for an on-field character.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't have it, you just find yourself getting embarrassed repeatedly by like Hilichurl tier characters that will just like there's some random mook will stroll up behind you while you're aura farming and kick you in the butt, and you'll fall over, and it will be terribly embarrassing for everybody involved.
I do
yeah.
not have the anti-interrupt constellation on my Galbrina, and if she goes up again, I'm going to very, very strongly consider.
But yeah, Hiyuki's very, very premium for the aura farming. I don't really know what her group performance is like because I don't have good echoes on her yet. I've got, mediocre but serviceable ones that I put together for the show. But she's very fun to play. Her animations are gorgeous. I saw a bunch of people online like discussing like, "Ooh, why would anybody pull Hiyuki? She's so ugly." And I'm like, "Is my taste in women really that bad?" But
I mean,
yeah.
she does look like she burned so many futures that she'd gone full albino.
Well, yeah, she's a bit pale, but she's also the Yuki Onna character for the game, so like you got to expect that to some extent.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm a fan of Melanin, but girlfriend could probably use some time by the fireplace.
But none of them mentioned her skin tone directly, so I'm not sure what they're referring to. But at any rate, yeah, there's a lot of love has gone into her design and her animations. They're very dynamic. It's basically she's everything that you would hope for from the resident Miyabi character for Wuwa. So yeah, I did also pull another Lauma, and the reason I pulled another Lauma in Genshin was because of the excessively good performance that I had on my pulls for Linnea, and I'm like, well, I haven't used Nefer much recently. But what is the primary reason I haven't used Nefer much recently? Well, it's because the thing that I like to do in Genshin is wander around the world and find things. And I can't do that with the Nefer team because the Nefer team suffers too much from attrition. The health bar goes down and it never goes up because I don't have Kokomi, basically. And Barbara's not really a great fit for the team. So the team never gets any health back and eventually wears down, which just makes me reluctant to use it in practice. What's the solution to this? The solution is Lauma constellations.
She got that first one that gives you a goodly bit of healing. It does not sound like much when you read the numbers on the kit, but because you pop bloom so much, it winds up being quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure how it interacts with Nefer, since Nefer doesn't pop blooms in the conventional way.
She converts blooms after they appear. And I think they just need the
Yeah.
bloom to appear to get the trigger.
Right. So long as the seeds are appearing on the field, you're golden.
I think so.
Yeah. But at any rate, that basically it enables me to have that necessary amount of healing to, use a team as a matter of, oh well, I want to play with this team in the world. I want to explore this, and I'm a big fan of Nefer as a character. I found her to add a lot to the story in a lot of ways, being that she's not just like this nakedly altruistic character that every other character in the game is.
Well,
like, everybody else is out to be a hero, and she claims that she's not.
About to say she certainly claims that. Girlfriend certainly seems to step up to the plate, even when it's going to cost her.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is that I think she's just a softie at heart. Like, she still wants to make moolah, and will certainly scam anybody she thinks that she can scam, but she won't scam people who really need it. But anyway, I also, by that token, I did also the current little story for the patch, which is a trade expo. It's a fun little story. It doesn't connect to anything really before. It doesn't connect to anything really after. But it's a fun, self-contained little tale. It's not got any implications for anything. It's not going to break any ground. It doesn't introduce any new characters or anything like that. But if what you're looking for is your fill of like Navia and Yellen, then you're going to be able to get it. It's an excuse for lots of characters to visit, basically. And also the moral of the story appears to be very not compatible with the progressive sensibilities of the people who typically are involved in the localization process, since the moral of the story is basically guns don't kill people, people kill people, and you need to give weapons to your family so they can protect themselves. It's not the weapons that are going to be bad for them. Which doesn't really seem like the usual progressive messaging, so yeah. It was a fun little story though, and it's one of those ensemble ones where you get to see lots of characters. Like it's the story's mainly driven by basically Chivrus and Yellen have both showed up to the trade expo because they're both chasing some case, and it turns out they're both chasing the same case, and so they've got to sort of team up. But yeah, it's just a fun little story, and I liked it. It's disappointing that this is like the primary voiced story for the whole patch, pretty much, because it's not really much to it. But you know, okay, Sitlali got to be in it too, so I'm all right with that. Yeah, it's not really much to say about it. It's just it's your usual sort of event scale story. And if it's got one of your favorite characters in it, well, you'll probably want to play it just to see what it's about. Let's see what else is worth covering in that regard. Nothing really to talk about Star Rail wise this time. I haven't had time to do anything with Star Rail anyway. Just haven't had the time for it, so I haven't even touched like the new APOC or anything like that. Just been too busy. Life sucks. I did play the Wuwa main story, but frankly, I'm just going to let Aristeel talk about it because, to my regret, my memories of it are kind of a bit fuzzy and disjointed. And while it didn't really seem like that at the time, I was just too tired after the week that I've had to properly follow what was going on. So I have sort of like a bunch of vignettes in my memory and no idea how they really connect together. So I'm not going to pass any real comment on the story. I wasn't upset by it or anything, so it must have been okay. I just didn't really get a chance to properly digest it. But by the time it was over, I felt like I had experienced a denouement rather than a character arc. But it was just an impression that I had because I can't seem to recall a lot of information about anything that I did yesterday, in fact. So
oh, that's bad.
Yeah, there's a
I'm
lot.
very tired.
There's a lot going on in them cutscenes, so it might be worth rewatching them again when you get a better headspace. A lot of moose.
Misc.
I can jump into
But
that
yeah,
now, or we can keep
I
going
don't
on your week.
I don't think that there's really much else for me to talk about for the week because I'm just sort of so mentally fragmented at the moment that there's not a lot that I can talk about. There are things that maybe you could talk about that you are interested in that I can comment on, but I don't think that I have enough coherently organized thoughts to talk about anything independently. Like I have some thoughts about things like that you might want to talk about, like the Steam controller and that you mentioned during the week, but they're all sort of like half-formed flashes in the pan rather than coherently formed thoughts. So I can't really talk about anything at length. I'm just so exhausted. I just want everything to be over.
Yeah. All right. My entire week is just doing Wuwa stuff with the new patch. Because it's the anniversary patch, and there's
Is it a chonker?
yeah, there's a lot of side stuff in the new zone. Big new building style event, like when we were building the roads, we got to build a new base there. Um, in the new zone, um, the pinball
I
mini
haven't
game
done
came
any
out
of that.
today.
The
There's side quests
only thing
all
that
over
I've
the
touched is the
place.
main story.
Yeah, there's a whole new region of collectibles to get. Like there's stuff to do. Like I've put a lot of time into it and put a goodly chunk of time into it, but I'm still not near done. It's a chunker, but the big thing is the main story. So yeah, I guess if you don't have anything else, we can segue that directly into what's in the Wuwa patch, and we can jump right into my week, because that's going to cover just the Wuwa patch.
Yeah, we'll just go on to your week. I don't think that I can really do anything coherent. I had a tough week. There was a lot to do. I'm tired. And well, it's not so much just this week, so much as the stack of the past 3 or 4 weeks that have all been quite bad, and me not having enough time to recover, and to the point where I'm just like going through a kind of haze at the moment.
Some health back. Juice to heal a bit. There we go. Right. My week was there was a bit of grime too in there, but honestly, if you've heard me talk about one Metroid style game, you've heard me talk about all of them. This one just executes it pretty well. There's absolutely nothing of note for me to talk about it. I'm not.
Which one is Grime?
Grime is the one that's got the Rock Man and is very,
The one
very
that's really kind of surreal dreamscape looking,
yeah, and focuses
uncanny, not really very comforting to look at in any way.
yeah, that one with a heavy focus on the parry mechanic. Um, yeah, it is that one. So there just ain't a whole lot to talk about there until I finish it. I'll give a full review once I do. That'll be a bit yet. There's a lot to do this Wuwa patch, so I've got to do that first, and that's eaten pretty much all my time this week. Um, so as you can tell, I pulled a character as well. It is not a new character. She's been this is like her second rerun, I think.
Been a feat.
Yep. The feat, you do have to accept the feat to play her, but literally every time you get to control her in the story, I've just had a blast playing her. She's so fun to play. Our girl Yuno, and by Yuno I mean who? I don't remember. You'll have to remind me. I don't know this character. Joke works better if you do it from the start. But yeah, like just every time you get to play Yuno, she's so much fun, and her animations are so fun. And holy crap, the server keeps itching.
Yeah, I keep thinking, is my graphics card need to be replaced?
Yeah,
or...
no, this is Wuwa's server because it's happening to me too. Like, and yeah, it's happening bad right now when I'm trying to talk about characters and animations on top of everything else. And like Vol was talking about with Hiyuki, like Kuro Games just likes their characters more than Hoyo does. Like the ZZZ team puts a lot of love and effort into their characters, probably a bit too much love into the sound effects. But like they just Kuro's not afraid to give you useless fun stuff to do with the characters, and this is something I'm reminded of every time I pull a new character. And for Yuna's, it's sometimes you just need to fly around like a diva. Is it effective? No. Would walking or running be faster? Yep. Does it put you in an awkward aerial state where you have trouble looting stuff? Yep. Is it fun? Yeah. And they just let you do it for no reason. And I just love that Kuro does that with the characters. They just put these weird character flourishes that are just fun in their kits that you can just goof around with. It's like, is there a reason to stand on the rainbow with Lene or do her heavy attack off the rainbow? No. But I mean, is there a reason to do a rain dance with Galbraina? No. But it's there.
You need to style on the opponent. It's not sufficient to just defeat them.
Is there a reason to sit there in the counter stance with Hayuki? No, but you can, and it's just a lot of fun. And the entire reason I pulled Yuno is just because every time she comes up in a trial, every time she comes up as part of a story, she just has the most fun animations to sit through and play when you're just running around. And like I mentioned before with Lene and how she is a double cracked for anything with resonance liberation tags all over their kit. She just turned, from the dedicated Augusta support into a workable on-field DPS. In fact, more than workable. I think she's like still in the top like 6 teams. Yuki might have pushed her down a bit, but
Well, almost nobody can run a Hyuki team because apparently not many people pulled Chisa.
she's had more reruns than any other character in terms of freak.
Yeah, but the thing is that people, other than people who are like me who pulled her because they just adore the aesthetic, like basically only the people that pulled her for waifu. Like she had no meta application until Hyuki came out because her team with Amith is so weak compared to the Mornier Lene one that nobody pulled her for that. Maybe there'll be a change up for the books in her next banner now that Hyuki's on the table, but before that, it was really not the case.
Maybe more people will be amenable to getting her once they finally force Rover to go on to another team and people have to decouple Rover from Cartwheel. They need to fill that third slot with somebody else. But yeah, like nobody else can flip the world upside down as just part of her basic combo. And she's just a ton of fun to play. And in terms of running around the world and playing, she is one of the most comfortable characters. Because you have basic hula hoop mode, which you don't ever want to be in. And then you have glowy hula hoop mode that builds your juice. And then you have bow mode that spins your juice. And you go into bow mode by flipping the world upside down. And just all of her stuff does a whole lot of miscellaneous junk. It buffs a little bit. It shields a whopping like maybe 5% of her HP every shot that caps out at 10% of her max HP. But it keeps building stacks every time a shield is applied for a damage buff. And she heals a little bit with every time she spins juice, but you have to get to the juice spending bit. And it's just, she can just keep going like the Energizer Bunny. You don't ever have to take her off field if you don't want to. And you're never stuck in a weird spot in the rotation because she's a sub DPS. Originally, she was meant to get to the end of her rotation and get out. There ain't as much to her main rotation as a main DPS. You don't get stuck with having to sit there and build up a juice bar like you do with like Zani or Galbreno or Hayuki, or in Hayuki's case, like her 4 juice bars, and worry about which juice bar you're on.
Yeah, she has a lot of freaking juice bars.
The
thing is that the problem with Hyuki's juice bars is there are some juice bars Hyuki has that can only be used once per time entering that phase. So if you used it up and the fight ended, now you're in trouble.
This is a Phantomized Dancer, I'm pretty sure. Yep.
It was, yep, for me as well.
Tiny one. But yeah, you can just whenever you want, and you can even juice her on the fly because this was a thing they did with they seem to do with all sub DPSs is you can just juice them on the fly. You just spam her skill while you're just running around, and you'll juice a quarter of the bar every time you do it. So yeah, I enjoy playing a lot, and I'm glad I get to play her whenever I want now instead of only during events. Unfortunately, that.
I can't see your screen, so I can't participate in this conversation.
I pushed the Alt button.
I see. So you gave everybody a face full of clodhoppers.
Yep, and if you play you will have to use it a lot. Because you get a free half of your juice bar whenever you ult. Yeah. So yeah. That's on the pull list. It's moved Augusta onto the definitely gonna pull if she comes up again list, so I need to keep enough in the tank for an eventual Augusta rerun. It would make sense for her to be one of the rerun characters next patch, because they usually want to run and Augusta together. And just having the option to run either solo or as the main DPS with Lene or having the option to run the traditional Augusta team if I need an Electro DPS would be a nice flex team that I like having. I would like to have. So I'm keeping some juice in the tank for that. Are they new characters? Is Augusta probably going to get scaled out as time goes on? Probably, but Wu was not as bad with the power creep as some of the other games.
I think that Aura is its own type of power.
That is true.
Like a lot of their characters are just so cool that I don't care. Like I don't care that Carlotta's outscaled by Hiyuki. I love both of them.
Yeah, and Augusta's another one that's just a ton of fun to play, and it gets pulled just because it's fun to play. That's the other thing about pulling, versus how I would normally make pulls in other games. Like planning for character viability and usability for extended periods of time would normally go into my calculus somewhat. For characters in Wuwa, that is just a lower priority. If the character just is cool or fun to play, I'm way more willing just to pull it because I want it.
And also, don't forget about Coral, which sort of changes the calculus.
Yeah, because all of a sudden, if a character that you might want needs wave bands, you can just get it. If you just don't spend Coral like every time you pull. So
Like, there is no way I could get away with the sort of crap that I've used Chisa for if I hadn't just like dumped Coral into wave bands. Oh no, I love playing Chisa. I like her design. I like her move set. I like what she does in combat. I want to play her more. Okay, so how do I make that happen? Wave bands. Well, that's out of reach for most people on under conventional circumstances due to the expense in terms of premium currency. However, not really the case in Wuwa. You get like basically 2 wave bands gratis if you're just going to save for them.
yeah, if you pull,
If you consider pulling to be part of the normal economy of play for gacha, you're just going to stack up potential wave bands, and when you meet a character that you really love playing, you can just use them. Or if you get a character who you think, well, the experience of this character is going to be overall way better if I just get that first wave band, well, you can just do it.
yeah, and it costs you just the Coral that you would just use to normally reimburse like 30 or 40 pulls normally. Well, it's a bit more than that, but I think you need like 50 pulls worth of Coral to get a wave band or something.
If you got luck like mine, then that suddenly becomes a very, very good investment.
and the other thing is, even in Wuwa, like a character being reliant on their weapon ain't as big of a deal in this game because there's no 50-50 on the weapon banner. If you get to pity on the weapon banner, you just get the weapon. So you don't have to worry too much about the character being locked and can plan for it as just an active cost without the hum-hawing of that can go into it sometimes with turn my moon on, hang on. Desync my combo. There we go. You can just plan for it as a cost without having to worry about the 50-50. Yeah, it just feels a lot easier on my brain in terms of premium currency planning whenever the games don't do a 50-50. And, just the characters in general. They do a good job. Like the last event they did that was a combat event. It had a few clunks with it. But overall it was a good way to practice and get a feel for a whole bunch of different teams and characters if you just took the trial characters. And they do a real good job of selling characters to you, just in taking them out there and seeing what they can do. So I'm more inclined to pull just for fun. Like it's not helping me progress the meta at all right now. Lene's already spoken for on another team right now, but
what is the point of playing the game if you don't have fun while doing it?
But yeah, I can not feel the bug in the back of my head. Like I don't need to feel like I'm working towards something. I guess I can say. The other reason for that is their primary in-game modes, like Tower requires 3 teams, but and 2 junk teams. But Whimpering Waste only takes 2 teams, and the other game mode is you can literally just throw stuff at the wall and see what your score is based on what you got. You don't have to worry if it's coherent or not. There are score thresholds.
Mold for an hour with Encore.
Yeah, like you don't have to worry about it in Wuwa. You'll get there eventually just by picking characters to make your account light. And I don't think there's a team limit on the highest difficulty mode or the highest difficulty in game. I think you can just throw crap at the wall forever until you run out. So it never hurts to pull a character if you like how they play, because well, they're gonna find you somewhere, and you don't even have to think about it. So my Wuwa calculus is very, very different. It goes into pulling characters that are fun and characters that enable the characters I think are fun, rather than having the oh well, I kind of want to keep this meta team up, or I really want to focus on making sure I can still make this character work for this long. I'm worried it's going to be paced out of content. Like that just isn't an issue here. If the 1.x characters can still clear in-game content, then we're fine. We haven't bumped into that problem yet. They can still do it. It can be a rough road sometimes, but they can still do it. And this isn't just the sweat lords that are making that work. Like these are just the moderately okay at the game people that are making 1.x characters work. So yeah, has so far in the like 5 days I've been playing her been a good investment just because she's fun to play, and I get to flip the world upside down. And Augusta will be fun to play when she reruns too. And she doesn't letterbox during her idle, but she does letterbox during her ultimate and uses it for a pseudo 3D effect when the mini swords that make up her bigger sword that are magnetized to it separate and flow outside of the letterboxing to make it look like the sword's jumping out of the frame. So there's that. Do the smaller stuff for the patch before the main story, because Vol can only really talk about the main story. Smaller stuff. Pinball event just went up today. It's a pinball game. It's so easy that it has a whole bunch of mechanics, but so far none of them matter. Just level up the characters that you want to use and equip them with the stuff, and take your little character-shaped pinballs and throw them at the dudes.
It's kind of hard to do pinball wrong, really.
Yeah, like I have not even come close to losing anything, and I've got the warning: your character is too low level for this. Every single time I've opened up a pinball level, and it just has not mattered. So not a whole lot to talk about there. The new base building thing is basically just an extension of the old event from 3.0 where we built the roads, except now we're building a base. There are 4 subzones in the new area that we got. I forget what it's called, but each one has a little tree in it. You do part of the exploration quest that has a sub quest for that area to unlock the ability to build up to basically clean out the ether corruption in that subzone, and then this will get you progress towards cleaning the place up and let you build the base up more. And you get currency to turn in at each subzone by just doing stuff, like just go around and do the bike challenges or the new Laharoy blocks or the new light puzzles, or go get your soul skins or your tapes or whatever. That'll all get you a little currency that you can spin to build the base up. So it's very much similar to the roads from 3.0, which is fine. It's just extra incentive to make you want to get out there and go and actually do the side activities and get you a bit more rewards for actually doing it. So I'm okay with that. There's the typical big patch stuff, and because it's an anniversary, we get an amount of them that's equivalent to, like, if this was a big version number patch. So we've got, if I go into the events here, we've got some free. We got all the freebie stuff everywhere for just logging in and doing stuff. Just progressing the main quest and the various side activities throughout this patch get you stuff. There's a special anniversary do stuff, and you get currency, and you can turn that in somewhere in this list. There's a lot of junk going on now. And you just, oh, here we go, Bountiful Waves. You get little coins, and you can go spend them on, phantom skins for your for Sigilum and False Sovereign. You can buy yellow pull crystals. You can get a Hayuki cube for your bike, a Dinia doll for Dinia. You can get transducers, and you can get forgery supplies and tubes and tuners, and there's 10 weekly boss challenge packs in there. The challenge pack 4, I think that's the latest one, so be able to cover.
Already burned all of mine on Hiyuki.
Yeah, those are always worth their weight in gold, because for the first while, weekly boss drops will be what holds you back. So yeah, a lot of just little stuff going on, and we have more events coming down the pipeline. We have the Cube event, and basically stuff's going to be going on for the next like 20 days for the anniversary. So be sure you log in and you're claiming that stuff. Just a whole lot of free currency, which is good because my pulls for went bad, like about as bad as they could. I think I double hard pitied and hard pitied, so I think I hit like the full 160 for character almost, and 80 for the weapon. But because we're in anniversary, I'm functionally well on my way to undoing that damage. Yeah, I've somehow gotten 27 gold crystals, and I'm back up to almost 19,000 astrite.
A lot of astrite, man.
Yeah, and I got down to like 11, I think. What was the picture?
Yeah.
It wasn't pretty.
Time with I was a bit concerned. It's like, oh, I've got this nest egg of paid currency that I've been sitting on, and I was like, I'm gonna have to dig into this for Denia, am I? But if there's that much going around, then maybe I won't have to worry about that so much.
Yeah,
because I'm sort of been flirting with the idea of whether or not I want to go any deeper on investment for Hiyuki, but I was like, oh well, I'll pilot her for a while first and see how I feel about that. But the main thing that would stop that would probably be just like, oh well, I definitely want Denia for Ameth because I want to be able to run the fusion team as well. And I just kind of like Denia, although I liked Denia more before from the previous story rather than her I didn't like her portrayal in this one because she doesn't really have a role, despite the amount of time she spends on screen.
Yeah, she doesn't have a character in the story.
I couldn't work out why they even bothered to include her because it doesn't seem to really amount to anything. And I thought, oh, maybe I'll just ask Aristeal in the morning whether or not it made any sense because I didn't perceive it.
No, she's very much so treated like a character device here rather than her own character. She just basically going cray cray.
Because I really liked her before, like she was a nice contrast to the sort of like relentlessly positive characters that most of the characters are. Like all of the characters so far that you encounter in La Haroy are either relentlessly positive like Nanae and Segrika, or relentlessly autistic like Mornier and Chisa.
Yeah.
Whereas Danya is like, I don't care about anything. You people are schmucks. That's her attitude to everything, which is refreshing in its own weird way.
Yeah. So yeah, that moves us on to the main story, which is the meat and potatoes, because I can't do any of this the side quest stuff I've done. Done it yet. Segrika does get her Linnae moment though.
What, you mean like the date moment?
Yeah, like it's not a manta ray this time. But it is equal in impact. Yeah, main story. Overall, as usual, the presentation's really good. The cutscenes are really good. I think particularly the ones with Ameth and the Void were done really, really well this time. They that seems to be where the cinematographer was having the most fun. And they're not complex. They're nothing really just truly experimental there. They're just really, really well done. Like the camera work's still there. We still got first person shots, it all over the place if you know to look for them. They're still there. But that's okay. It works. Honestly, at this point, I'd be disappointed if he didn't do them. If we go a patch without him, it'll feel
Oh
wrong.
no, is he off his game? Maybe he was sick.
Like, I will. I hope he doesn't do that. So yeah. Cinematography, presentation are great. Music's great this patch. A bunch of it is. I don't recall very much new music aside from near the end, but Wuwa music is always really good. A poor playlist.
I feel Wheel music, oftentimes it doesn't hit the first time, but the more you re-listen to it, the better it gets.
Yeah, the stupid playlist on the bike. It's like, oh, I'll make a playlist. It'll have like 20 songs in it, and it just keeps expanding because I just find more songs that I want to put on loop. That thing's like it approaching 35 songs. I'm like, at this point, I'm functionally just putting entire albums on the favorites list. So yeah, Kuro is a music company that makes a pretty dang good video game. So that's all good. So now that I've talked about the generic good stuff, two problems I had, well, 2.5 problems I had. One of them is not going to matter to a lot of people, I don't think, but it bugged me a lot and was my biggest issue with the patch. In the main story. The first one is Hayuki really needed to be introduced to us more actively throughout it for being part of the finale. I feel like if you're going to make a character part of the finale, you either have to go full Galbraina and make them a perma partner for the entire thing, or you have to have them at least present as an NPC throughout before. And I just felt like Yuki needed a bit more. She had a little bit of time the patch beforehand, teasing her, but it felt like the role she was serving could have been used to be built up, and even could have been used to give Chisa a bit more screen time instead of just abandoning her.
Yeah, I felt like those two stories were supposed to be stitched together and weren't for some inexplicable reason.
Probably time, honestly, given
Because
how much effort they put into these cutscenes.
there's only one player character in the cast who has met Hiyuki before, and that's Chisa, and they have zero interactions.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Chisa talks about meeting Hiyuki as a child and hiding behind her mother because she thought she was scary. But now, an extra 10 years have passed for Chisa compared to everybody else on the planet, and she's got the opportunity to meet Hiyuki again, and they just don't make that ever happen. So I had a lot of problems with the Chisa portrayal because I'm always keeping an eye out for Chisa, even if my brain is in space. But Rover does not acknowledge her existence or speak to her even once at any point. And in fact, no character addresses her. The only thing she has in the main story is a throwaway incidental line where she comments, "Oh, this is what a rune looks like, is it?" Like, that's the only thing she does for the whole main story.
There was a perfect opportunity for them to go the extra mile with Chisa and have her get the piano barbecue cart out as a full model when they're driving around in the finale, taking pictures of the runes.
They totally should have done that.
So, but they didn't. So the pacing's a little wonky. Because of this, we get hard diverted into the interlude for Hayuki immediately, and then it strongly encourages you to keep going into the main story because of the nature of how these things work in gacha.
The interlude is pregnant with possibility. Like, it really makes you question a lot of what you've seen, because there are this sort of like weird things that you can tease out of it. Like, well, exactly how much of what we've experienced was just written beforehand as part of the scheme by the Fraxidus, and how much of it is actually organic. Why is it that the only things that you see on the screens are things that the Fraxidus were there to see, except for there are a few extra scenes that they, for some reason, they've got footage of, and the only person common to them all is Yang Yang. Like, we're not going to do that, are we? Where it turns out that Yang Yang was the bad guy all along.
I don't know. That'd be pretty
But,
good.
like,
That'd be a pretty good twist.
the thing is that people have gone absolutely, like, red string on the notice board with that. Like, they've started pointing out, actually there's this weird phenomenon in all of the cinematography that you see throughout the game. There's like all of these situations that are sort of like nominally private between Rover and another character like Chiakono or somebody, but there's always a crow in the picture. And it's always sometimes it's a white crow, sometimes it's a black crow, but it's always there. And so obviously somebody is using crows as a motif. Well, who's the most likely character to want to spy on Rover? Oh, well, that's going to be the Fractsidus, right? Because the Fractsidus have an interest in Rover. But, like, who is available among the Fractsidus to use crow familiars? Well, none of them use crow familiars at this stage.
Yeah,
So who is doing that? And then there's other things like there's this sort of like implication in Hiyuki's prologue that the Fractsidus are the ones that came up with the moniker Rover. You could draw that out of it. There are other ways to read it, but it's there. So there's a lot of information in there, but you're kind of being barraged with stuff out of left field that, like, you're just launched into Hiyuki POV, try and understand the world as she sees it, without any kind of warning whatsoever.
Yeah, and it just felt like the pacing here was off. I think this is where their character focus for the main story each patch instead of dedicated character stories is coming back to bite them a little bit.
I think that the character concept is very solid. Like, the idea of, like, there is this other sort of, like, would-be Rover that just wasn't as successful as Rover and is altruistic but very serious and is struggling with the impulse to just become, like, toxically jealous. And she struggles against it because she's virtuous, but she's still experiencing it. The fact that it all just seems so unfair that she dedicated her life to doing the same thing, but for her it didn't work.
Yeah, and it's like she needs to have the rover come up and say, "Oh no, like me and the girls were all together, and Brant when we fought Threnodians."
And I think that that works because it's a video game, and you know you are always piloting Rover in some sense, and it's sort of like it works from a meta perspective because you don't in real practice don't always pilot Rover. So the player has this concept that you're not actually using Rover the whole time, even though Rover's your point of view the whole time. Um, so it's sort of got this sort of like meta enmeshment, like meta story enmeshment with the actual story, where the player knows this, but has sort of also been told not to think of it that way. But the reality is something different. Like, you're always seeing everything from Rover's point of view, but Rover's not a great character to solo everything with.
Yeah, and I think
So,
Rover does come out and explicitly tell her when they finally do meet up that she's like, "Yeah, no, I had all kinds of help during all these. It wasn't just me. I just got to do the last."
but I
push."
mean, if you look at it from the point of view of the NPCs that you meet, they
Yeah,
all remember Rover as the great hero.
yeah,
Because Rover's the sort of like the foreign element that is injected into the situation that turns the tide. The thing is that from Rover's point of view, it was never enough for just them to be there, and that's true in practice. But it's a very good sort of echo as well, because remember Rover has been in Hiyuki's position as well in a way, in that Rover needed Galbrina to tell her all of that as well.
mm-hmm.
So this is sort of like there is this one savior who maybe she was a bit more successful than Hiyuki was at doing the savior thing, but still ended up falling in the same trap of trying to do everything on their own and coming up short.
Yeah. So her character type works. It's an interesting character type. It's just the pacing that they stuck it in and jamming that full interlude right at the start and us having only teasers beforehand of who she even was really kind of hurt it here. They didn't
And
make
I
her
had no idea when it was happening either.
yeah. Like they jammed Galbrina in at just the last patch for the Threnodian arc, but it worked for Galbrina because Galbrina was a constant partner for Rover the entire quest. They were side by side the entire time. That was a very, very long finale quest where Galbrina was there with Rover the entire time. So you got to know her over the course of like 7 hours or whatever, however long that quest was. This one is not quite 7 hours. It's closer to like 4 or 5. And Hiyuki is not a partner to Rover in it aside from little parts here and there. she comes and goes.
I think that's also like that does have its own story implications as well, because you can tell that the effect that Rover has had on her is significant, but it's not profound. The way basically Galbrainer changes the way Rover views her place in the world,
Yeah, and
and going from alone to not alone. Whereas Hiyuki, it's affected her, but she still, in the end, walks off by herself to try and solve the next problem. Because we've got a sort of a situation where there is basically only 3 people in the world who are boasting that level of power, and that's Rover and Hiyuki and Karathea. And because Hiyuki may not have become the Threnodians resonator, but she had the power to do it. And the only reason she's not is because she keeps cutting parts of herself off in a more literal sort of expression, perhaps, than Rover has. But so there's sort of a sense that there's not room in the same room for these two big dogs, where Galbrainer and Rover can cooperate, but Hiyuki and Rover are the same character. They do the same job, so they're almost sort of not a good fit to help each other because they take up too much space.
yeah, I can see that with it. A ton of Yuno's idle animations have her messing with this mirror that has. I'm trying to figure out if it's a real time reflection of the Yuno model or if it's just a JPEG that's a series of JPEGs synced up to play whenever she does her idle. Anyway, that was thoroughly distracting. So yeah, that's the Hiyuki's part in the story. There's more to the main story. There's the all the stuff with Ameth and the folks at the school. Most of that felt paced fine. I would have liked it to be longer, just to have a bit more time to stir with it, because that's just kind of how these finales have gone in the past with Wuwa. And the 2.7 finale was so good because of its length in part.
Remember, we're at 3.3 at the moment.
I
We're not
know,
at 3.7.
I know, but it's still the versus Threnodian patch. So it kind of feels in that boat. So all that was okay, and then you got where was I going? There was one oh the Dinia part with Hiyuki. So Dinia doesn't have a character in this one.
Which is a shame, because she had a very vivid character in the previous one.
They're clearly going to do something in the interlude to sell her because she's such a non-character in the patch she's in. I think it would be silly for them not to, and obviously she's getting her interlude next. But for the main story, she cray cray. Like, her brain is just, and it's not she's having a woman moment cray cray. Her brain is broken.
Well, it's full of Threnodian.
Yeah, well, yeah, that tends to do it. Well, I mean,
Like they basically tried to make a controllable version of Mia.
yeah, and Cartwheel, when she started to get Threnodian on the brain, Galbraina had to help her with, some lead through the dome. I mean, it worked. It was kind of a roundabout way how it worked, but it worked. But we don't shoot Dinia in the head. Maybe we should have rang up Galbraina to come bring her brain surgery bullets, but we don't do that. Instead, we just gonk her on the head and send her off to go get looked at. I actually don't remember who we left Dinia with at the end of that.
Well, they have a fight with Dinia. Rover embeds the power of separation in Dinia. Hiyuki executes on it to split the Threnodian's power away from Dinia, and then they send her basically to the infirmary. But she's too scared of Hiyuki for Hiyuki to be allowed to see her again.
Yeah, that's right. Instead of brain surgery bullets, we have brain surgery magic sword. So yeah, kind of sad they just didn't do anything with her. It would have been a good way to tease a bit of mystery to her character, and you could have run with that a bit, but We just didn't have the
Yeah,
runtime
I
this
feel like
patch to do it.
the overall flaw that I came away with this one, other than a few weird pacing hitches, particularly when they're changing medium, were basically that it seemed like there were a bunch of solid stories being told, but they were all being told independently instead of being woven together in an elegant way.
Yeah. Like, you had a bunch of good workable ideas here, your execution was just off. And now this part's gonna be a little spoilery. I'll try to keep the spoiler mentions minimal, so that people that aren't gonna get around to it for a while will have time to forget it. But the biggest single issue I had with the patch was I was having a grand old time with the final boss fight. It was awesome. Everything about that final boss fight was cool until I realized I couldn't lose.
Yeah, yeah. But I think that was a problem. Like I would have died several times over if I if I could lose, and I think it's bad that you can't lose it. The problem is that I think that they needed the fight to be longer than a real fight could be.
Hmm.
Like the normal player is going to lose to attrition long before the story is told because
Yeah,
they have a lot of voiceover to do.
yeah,
And I feel like they just chose an easy and inelegant solution to the problem that was overall not very satisfying. I
yeah.
think that they should have taken a different approach.
Because until my health bar hit 1 HP, I was having a blast that fight. And then I realized that none of these buttons I'm hitting matter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is that this has been the truth before as well, which is
Yeah,
why I was prepared for it. I expected this
they
to
did
be the
it.
case.
They did it during.
I still felt disappointed when I saw it though.
Yeah, and this is just failing to utilize your medium. Like, there is a elegant solution to this. It requires a bit more coding work on the back end. I get it, and I know they're working on a gotcha time frame. I understand all the realities of what we're talking about here, but could you at least put in an option when you do lose to just auto revive or restart the fight?
Well, the thing is that they do exactly that in Honkai Impact Third. Like when you go into the fight against Kevin, like for instance, which is like the final boss of Part One, functionally. Well, no, not really. Like I think let's say the first fight against Kevin as Kevin rather than before he turns into a weird Eldritch Abomination. Um, like it gives you three options. You can choose either normal mode or challenge mode or easy mode. And in easy mode, it's basically impossible to die. In normal mode, it's not that hard. The fight's not that hard, but you can die. In hard mode, is they attempt to rip your balls off.
Yeah, because there is
And
a
it will just bring up a menu before the fight engages and say, pick which version of this fight you want to do.
yeah, because the way they set up the final boss this patch was particularly rife for using the video game medium as a way to emphasize the power you have and how strong Aleph 1 is. Like, if they made it so you could lose, that's all it would take. And you have to, push the restart button because he kicked your butt the first time. But you have such a powerful moveset that's so simple, it wouldn't take that long to learn it and learn the fight. And because the boss only has like 4 attack patterns until his final phase where he goes nuts. But
I think it was a missed opportunity, but I think that it's just basically it's an opportunity for feedback because it's not difficult to implement. All you have to do is make a mode where you can die and a mode where you can't, like
Yeah.
as a minimal solution.
Yeah.
Like if you want the cinematic mode, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. In fact, I might if things were more replayable, I might even pick the cinematic mode the first time because I don't want my experience to be interrupted if I drop the ball or something. Or if I just feel like, no, I want this to be weighty, then I would pick the hard one and just bash my face against it.
And
Like,
this
that having that option would be important to me.
yeah, we spent like almost 5 months now building up this Threnodian as a big deal that's going to kick your butt, and you get to it and you can't lose. Like the weight it would have if you had to retry it a few times, or you had the option to make it so you could retry a few times and it could actually kill you. Like that would help really sell the weight of what you're doing and give you a sense of accomplishment alongside the characters for finally taking this thing down.
Yeah, I think that this is something that is worth giving feedback over if you feel strongly about it because they probably did have that discussion And they
I
just thought, well, we think that we think it's going to break the immersion more if we have a menu where you select the version of the fight.
yeah,
Then
I gave that feedback
yeah,
to him once before. The other time I noticed it on the when Hybatia was first released. The Linnaeus boss. That's not the worm. Uh, the the one you got to farm to level her up. Because you couldn't die in that fight either, and I didn't like it there. But that was, a weekly boss that wasn't, the highly cinematic worm fight. It wasn't the climax or anything, so I didn't think anything of it. I don't think I ever hit 0 HP, so I don't know if you could die on the worm. But this was a fight that, it would have been served by not making you immortal. The fight itself, like all the pieces were for a wonderful boss fight.
yeah, and
For
they
a,
just didn't decide to do that for some reason. I don't know if you go back and do it again. I don't know if you can die in that version. I haven't gone in to do it, but yeah, it is a little bit disappointing they didn't give you the option, like because I came to expect that in Honkai Third. Like if I saw that, I don't think I ever picked the cinematic version where you can't die. Um, but yeah, there was it was always an option, and I knew that I was in for I was in for getting my balls busted if I picked the hard one.
yeah, but there are some fights where it just feels appropriate for the boss to have some teeth to it.
One other qualm I had though was that I don't know if I was just not following it because of my deranged mental state, but I remember distinctly having the thought is like, wait, why is the eye now a robot? I don't understand. When did that happen?
Yeah, not sure how we got. They mentioned that it's a projection, and they do kind of address it at the end of you beat up the giant mech with your giant mech, and this opens the eyeball up, and then
I mean, the huge Gundam versus Gundam fight, like two thumbs up, but that's what you're supposed to do with giant robots is punch other giant robots. It's all very Gurren Lagann, but I don't understand how we got from there to here.
yeah, I don't know why Mr. Aleph One decided he was going to mono us in the same in
Yeah, like, I,
a
I
fair
don't
fight.
think I don't think he has like the romantic sentiment of giant robot boss battles the
I'm,
way human beings do.
yeah,
Like he's not Welt.
yeah, I'm not. I don't know how we got there, but I'll take it because at least they hand waved it at the end by having our boy Laharoy have to chuck a chuck a magical space spear at the actual eyeball because the thing we were fighting was just a projection that it was using. I don't know why its self defense projection is a robot. Maybe there'll be lore on that later.
Well, maybe it's just been watching Solaris for so long that it is just decided. Well, I mean, they clearly think that robots are the best. So
Yeah, like
if we're going to suppress them, we need to use a robot for that.
I've been destroying a whole lot of stuff that's dedicated to making a big robot punch better. So maybe I need to make myself a big puncher robot.
Or maybe there will be a lore reason, and we'll simply find out later.
Yeah,
So,
because
well, it's naturally just examining the Sentinel delivery system, and it's basically aping it because it doesn't know how to do anything but copy.
they've set up a whole mess of potential. They could go anywhere with it. Stuff with Rover's Home, just for future patch versions. 4.x or 5.x, where they could make use of this stuff and come back to it later. This could be something they've got on the docket. Oh, it is a reflection. I can see you in it.
Yep, that's what I was trying to do.
That's cute. So yeah. Um but yeah, other than that, everything and the majority of the story is about uh Aleph 1 and finally Rover finally getting to do what she's been waiting to do for a long time now. Go do the hero thing. And go punch the big eyeball in the face. Or in the mech face. It's got
And the
really.
Ameth came back, and she's going to do the wandering the earth thing just like Cartathea, so that they can have a big damn heroes moment together later.
Yeah, we're gonna make and we're gonna get all the Sentinel resonators together in in one big climax at the end of like 4.x or something. Yeah, it was really good for the main story overall. there was just a few really serious problems with it. I'm going to put feedback on again. I would have forgiven every one of the other minor issues if I'd been able to die in the boss fight, but that one just, for me in particular, that stuck and was like, ugh, no. And I was after the main story was done, I started to get really flippin' mad about it. And then I calmed down about it, and then I got madder again. It was a very ugly roller coaster.
I didn't really feel much about it because I already spent so much time molding over feedback, sending basically because I keep sending feedback to the Star Rail devs about how their story mode is just too easy.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is a trivial fight, and if it's a turn-based game, you can afford to just make it difficult because it's so much easier to turn the difficulty down if you need to.
Yeah.
But so I was sort of prepared for it. But like the thing is that the solution is something that I've experienced as well in Honkai Third, so I know that you can just do that and people won't get upset about it.
Yep. I like how if you get too close, Yuno appears to not have a very big radius that she needs to pull the mirror out. But if you get right on top of me, it'll cancel the idle animation to make her put the mirror away. So yeah. Overall, Wuwa patch, very solid. Lots of content. The meat of the main story is good. It just has a few minor shoes with it. But I'm definitely gonna keep going with Wuwa. I think Kuro's putting out a new game they announced, but I'm not looking to add more gacha to the list. I'll prefer to stick with the ones I got, and honestly, Wuwa and ZZ are holding me over. I'm mostly playing Star Rail still because Ball's playing it. The Elation Planet has been more interesting than I expected it to be. But yeah, I think next we got the big ZZ. Oh, we got the pre-patch, or rather the final patch, the bridge patch between the 2.x and the 3.x and ZZ next week or this week.
Hold on, there's got to be at least another week because they just started a event this week, didn't they?
Yeah, but it's just a talk to the screen and get free primos event.
Oh, I haven't had time to do it. I just get home and I die.
Yeah, it's one of the it's the equivalent to the Lolaro Express events. Like you go talk to a board and you pick whether it's delete a negative review or keep it for an establishment.
That means I've got to start doing it like right now, or I'm going to miss out on results.
Yeah,
on resort rewards because I've got to do those things every day. I just haven't had time to do anything. I'm so tired all the time.
It doesn't matter if you're right or if you pick with or against the majority. You just get the primos. So you just pick.
Yeah, well, the thing is that those formats only usually let you do one per day or something. So you've got to be there the whole time.
Yeah, possibly. You might want to check that. So yeah. It doesn't seem to imply that from the UI, but it might, so I would check it anyway to be sure. So yeah. So yeah, that's that. Fern needs to get to the end of the Renacida story so he can see why we glaze it so much.
Yeah, but I'm just really not feeling the gacha games lately. Meh.
Yeah. It'll matter less that it's a gacha towards the end of Renacida because they will just start for the end of Renacida, they basically force you to use trial characters for the last everything after after the right before Septimont.
You can pretty much just play it as a conventional single player game because you're going to be playing Rover the whole time, pretty much.
Or Augusta story, they make you play Augusta, and
yeah.
like
it'll be the character of the moment, and they'll just give you the trial character.
2.7, you'll get to play
which is a better way of telling the story, honestly.
Yeah, and 2.7, you'll get to play a lot of Galbraina.
In first person.
The Galbraina. Why? Why the first person?
Because we need to have a Doom 2003, the movie cutscene gameplay section as a full
FPS.
Yeah, with Dwayne the Rock Johnson in full
Why?
glorious hard rock soundtrack playing the whole time from a cassette
Why? Why
from a
you do
cassette tape
this?
because it's amazing.
Because that's just
It's
how
cringe.
Galbraith is.
Like I'm here to tell you, it's one of the coolest dumb novelty moments in the game that I've ever seen.
It still made me think of a U-Ball movie. I hope you're happy.
What's the Doom movie, U-Ball?
I think it
I
was.
think it was, yeah.
I'm not 100%.
I know the
sure
Resident
it
Evil
was,
ones did the same thing, and those were U-Ball.
Yeah, you just get to
They were
play.
abominations.
You just get to play a first-person shooter section as Galbraith.
Just because.
Because I say shooter, this is Galbraith we're talking about, so you get to see you know how Dante in Gunslinger does all the flips and kicks and shit?
Yeah.
You get to do all that with Galbraith in first person.
Oh, that sounds like a one-way trip to Nausea Town.
It probably is if you put on a VR headset. But
Oh yeah.
but just as it is as a 2D screen, it's absolutely amazing. And you will get to look down like everybody else does and go, suddenly this is way more interesting.
No, the Doom film was directed by somebody whose name I can't pronounce because it's got way more letters in it than I expected because it's Polish.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
Yeah, I have no luck with Polish words at all. Like I just look at them and I'm like, what?
Yeah, the further
that's-
east in Europe you go, the harder it is for me to pronounce whatever you put on the paper.
Yeah. Yeah. Just once you get up to the Scandinavian countries, just don't bother.
So yeah, and that's literally all I got for anything of substance this week. It's been crazy at work, but that's not new. I'm at a work cycle right now where I just have a bunch of little stuff going on all the time. And I got projects all over the place. Some are breaking, some are getting stuck in stasis, some are needing people to change out parts because they're stupid and they ordered the wrong thing. Like it's just a whole mess of stuff that's just constantly going on and driving me nuts, and I have no idea how any particular day is going to go. And lately, it seems like at least 3 of the days of the week are just totally murdered by work. So I'm hoping I can get back to equilibrium and take a breather, but the way things are going, that's not going to happen. So I really only got time to focus on like one game per week. And that week, the game for that this week was Wuwa, and there's still more anniversary and content to do. So likely eat a big chunk of next week.
I was amused that Hiyuki doesn't make, as one might expect, paper cranes for her familiars. She makes these weird little fat birds.
Oh.
And apparently the lore reason is she's just not very good at origami and has pretty much given up trying to make real cranes.
So she makes the Charmony pigeons?
Yeah, basically.
Or the Wuwa Charmony pigeons?
Which is why she sort of mentions in the story about her needing to draw on a future where she was more successful at mastering the art of familiars.
So yeah. And that's all I got for my stuff. We have an email if somebody wants to take it.
Where did I put that?
I gotta find it because it's all my Discord is full of pictures of waifus at the moment.
Here we are. So this is from our good buddy Serethus, as per usual. So here we are in Heathrow, drawn with quite a bit of reference material from ZZZ. In fact, the intro cutscene had quite the atmosphere of what the Hollow Zero disaster might have been. You know the one that orphaned like half the cast in Season 2. But oddly enough, not the 1.x characters. So far, NTE has been alright. The combat is kind of basic, but I'm only at low level, so I haven't seen much of the mechanics. I haven't seen much of the story either, because I've been fluffing about with the open world. driving, running into anomalies, collecting not Oculuses, outfitting shops, racing, fishing, and furnishing a surprisingly cheap but very high-end apartment. Then the cat girl moved in, and she is now strolling about in her underwear. She gets head pats. But there is so much to
Very
do.
good.
If you want to get a game open world urban fantasy, go for NTE. Or if you want one without the gacha, wait for an Anta. Or whatever Varaspura is going to be. I'm going to sneeze. Yeah. I didn't sneeze, I coughed. Where did the sneeze go? As for WildStar stats, I think they were going for the same deal as they were with the whole game. What if Mr. Torg designed an MMO? So obviously, strength is brutality. In the end, they realized this is stupid, and they just changed the stats so everything gave assault power or support power. Serathis.
They did. I forgot about that. That was about the time they
I mean,
made free to play.
it is bland, to be sure, but it's also like where every MMO seems to end up. Like
You have
it
a
doesn't.
stat.
Yeah, like that's what WoW converged on. It's what FF converged on. Like you've basically got a primary stat, and that's the only one that matters, and a mess of little supporting stats that matter as well, but they aren't the thing that drives your character power forward to the same extent. Like it's just sort of an inevitability. The problem with the WildStar ones is they're completely inscrutable. Like there's no way to just remember which one you needed
Yeah, I
when
think
you're going about your business, getting drops and stuff.
when we were playing, I remember them having the funny names, but I think they did just change them to standard names later.
Yeah, much later. But yeah,
Much later, yeah.
that game died the death.
I'm
I think
sad because it had so much personality.
it had a lot of personality and it had a lot of potential, but I just don't think that there was. I don't think that there was an environment to release it into. Because you see, the thing with WoW killers is that most of them didn't die because they were worse than WoW. They died because people wanted WoW. And if it wasn't WoW, then they weren't getting WoW and they weren't happy. And if it was WoW, they already had WoW, so they weren't happy.
Yeah.
So there was basically no winning move there. The whole thing was just sort of like a misguided venture. But I mean, I had a lot of fun playing WildStar. There was a lot of love clearly went into it, and they did a lot of really ambitious things that WoW was too afraid to do at the time. But there just wasn't like the mileage, and they didn't get the mileage with the audience that it needed in order to support itself. That was just it. There were a lot of things about it that were just a little bit clumsy, not as good as they needed to be. If it had released in place of WoW, rather than World of Warcraft releasing where World of Warcraft released, and had gone through that process of development in its own time, well, it would be a standard, I think, instead of World of Warcraft. But that's not
Yeah.
the way history worked. History worked that people were forced to pitch the ambitious but needs work WildStar against the not really ambitious anymore but well developed World of Warcraft. Of course, the landscape now is different because World of Warcraft is complete dog water and everybody can see it. So it's only the lifers that are still there. But yeah, that's just an artifact of the march of time, basically. I mean, there's not really any good reason why Genshin Impact has the mileage it has, except that it was launched at a particular place at a particular time where it was very capable of taking advantage of its situation. So it was able to do a lot with not as much as perhaps would be required today. And they've been playing catch up ever since, basically.
Yeah. All right. So
But
yeah,
as far as Everness to Everness is concerned, I wanted to try it out, but like I keep saying, my recent work life has been miserable, so I just haven't had the spare energy for that kind of thing. I'm not seriously tabling it as something to add to my rotation of games, because in a Grand Theft Auto style open world where there's lots of places to go and lots of things to do, I tend to suffer from decision paralysis. And the only way to ameliorate decision paralysis is to literally just mow the lawn and do everything, and I don't have that sort of time. So it's not a good thing for me to engage with. So yeah, that's what, and also just doesn't look very nice, to be honest. Like it looks like an inferior version of Wuthering Waves or of ZZZ or whatever. Like it, and when I say looks, I don't mean that the whole game gives me that impression. I mean like actually, is in terms of visual impact, there are little details that I expect to be there that aren't, in
Mm.
terms of like character design and that sort of thing. Like everything is a little bit smoothed over, a little bit like this was made efficiently. This wasn't made with the same degree of love. And that might not be fair because I'm sure the people that are making the game love those characters a lot, and they know where they can find some easy wins, and the fact that like he's not wrong. Like when the cat girl moves into your apartment, she just walks around with an oversized dress shirt over her underwear. That's just how she sort of hangs out, because there's a certain audience that's going to score a lot of freaking points with. But
Like,
as a symptom of the dysfunction of modern society, I guess.
like our girl on screen right now is not particularly well dressed. I think girlfriend in the apartment literally is just in like a lingerie baby doll. Yes.
She,
No.
it's
It's a sweatshirt, but it might as well be.
like this is what they're doing. This is how they're going to make money. This is how they have managed to deeply enrage the feminist portion of the theoretically prospective fan base who were never actually going to play the game or support it anyway. Like that's the angle they're going for. You can go on dates with them. You can hug them and hold hands with them, etc. Like I said, symptom of the dysfunction of our society. Real people don't participate in real relationships anymore because the world is falling apart, and this is what you get instead. This is just the way of things, and that's where they've put the emphasis. And if you look at what is the number one feature they promoted in the promotional live stream just before launch? Well, it's going to a maid cafe and playing mahjong there. I mean, okay. This is the game is designed to have a lot of different stuff you can do, and it, from all accounts, supplies that. But I haven't seen anybody praising the combat as anything particularly interesting, but that's not what people are interested in. People are interested in doing the exercise of living the life in this virtual city. And if it keeps delivering on that, then it's going to carve out a respectable sort of fan base that are interested in, doing that. I just don't think I've got the time to be absorbed in that sort of thing. So, yeah. And, it's going to run into that inevitable problem that you always get where, okay, so it's launched and there's a gajillion things to do, but they aren't going to launch with the whole city every time they patch. The amount of content that will be delivered from now on is going to be smaller because that's necessarily the case. The question is, what are they going to be supplying season over season to keep people engaged? Because the city will eventually become just the city, the place where you've done and seen everything already. That will happen eventually.
I got news for you. If you think the mahjong is going to hold you over, Mahjong Soul has a better mahjong system. I can almost guarantee it.
I don't think anybody thinks that, Aristeele. I don't think anybody is actually going into the game thinking that mahjong is going to be where it's at. We're going to be playing mahjong.
I mean, the people that become mahjong lifers are some of the most dedicated people on the planet to their games.
This is just FYI. This is not a mahjong game. It just happens to have a mahjong game in it. So
no. If it's got mahjong in it, it's a mahjong game.
But yeah, it's certainly got its appeal. I've seen lots of really impressive cityscape pictures in that, but it's easy to take a good screenshot if you know how. So that doesn't necessarily mean a great deal. It's I'm interested in it, but I'm interested in it tangentially. Like in terms of raw aesthetic, Silver Palace was the one that really just burrowed its way into my brain, and I'm waiting to see how it executes. And that's got so many points in aesthetic that, provided that it executes combat adequately, that will be enough for me. But Neverness to Everness sort of like leans on action combat in a way that is sort of like more similar to Wuthering Waves. And so it kind of needs to be at least that good. And I haven't seen anything to suggest that it's got that much polish. Some people have said that it has, some people have said that it hasn't. Well, I mean, it remains to be seen. But I mean, judging from previous behavior, it's the optimistic thing you could say is that if it does well and if people are impressed by it, probably the ZZZ devs will look to lift their game to match it because they tend to act that way. So, yeah, I guess we'll wait and see.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, ZZZ and Wuwa have me covered for gachas. In terms of ones that have actively grabbed my attention. I'm not looking to add another one, and I already have a mahjong game.
Well, I mean, they aren't really selling this on the gacha. They aren't really selling this on the combat. They're basically selling this on the fact that it's got this sort of like operational open world urban cityscape to move around in, and that's not something that's currently being offered by the major gacha offerings on the market, and so that's the angle that they're going with to promote it, and it's a reasonable angle if that's what you're after. If what you want is anime Grand Theft Auto, then well, that option is now available to you if you are willing to take it.
I mean, I guess if you treat it more like a single player game that you play what's out, put it down, come back in a year, they add a whole another half of the city or whatever for the next patch or something. That then it could work. I could maybe see myself sampling it then, but I still don't really want to get in at launch because you know how these games go, these live service games at launch. It's very rare that I jump into one of these from the get go. It's because they always have the launch jank. About the only one I've done that with, I think, is ZZZ. So I don't think I'll be checking out Neverness to Everness. If Vol does, I'm sure he'll be on the horn going, Ari, what tile do I discard?
I really want to be entrapped by the Mahjong Hell engine.
It will capture you, and you will get sucked in if you actually play it enough. It's inevitable. Oh, that's cute. The moon goes where you aim it. It doesn't have a fixed point in the sky.
That's not how moons work.
No,
Doesn't even remotely how moons work.
you stick that JPEG up in the skybox, whatever direction you're facing.
At least when it was Ishtar, it was Venus, and she was a goddess, so she had absolute control over the position of Venus.
No, you see, is just that much of a diva. Moon goes where she wants it to. Oh, that's cute. It waxes, or rather, it wanes as the timer on the buff goes down. When it starts to get low, it turns into a crescent moon.
Stop waving those feet everywhere.
Busy making moons.
Busy trying to manufacture more feet, people.
They're getting the
First seed, now you know.
No, they're everywhere. They're invading my life. It's not my fault they're so fun to play.
That's how they get you. They're going to turn you into a feet people.
I'm not going to turn me into a feet people because feet people ain't people. Right now, they're getting an awful lot of look at Juno's pigtails because I have to aim the moon where I'm facing. So yeah, thank you for the email, Sarthis. Unfortunately, I don't have anything to comment on Neverness to Everness because I genuinely don't have any. Not right now.
It is quite a name. I'll give it that.
I might take a look after it's got over its launch season hiccups and got a few patches under it, and then after that I'll likely put it down and maybe check it back out a year later after it gets an next big content patch. So yeah. Um. All right. We have topics. We have. I have one of note. Um. That is of interest to me in particular. Because I'm going to try and get one when it comes out next week. We'll see how that goes.
More like not available in your region.
Yes.
Yeah, y'all are gonna have to wait a bit, probably.
We're going to be waiting a while.
And that is the Steam controller. Has a release date and a price. It will be available for purchase May 4th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, so I'll be at work, I believe. But I can. Oh nope, that is yeah, I will be at work. So I'll be tomorrow. It's already Sunday, so it'll be Monday for me. At let's see, that'll be 1 p.m. So it'll be. I can keep it open on the other monitor and try and nab one. Hopefully the store doesn't crash.
Is this one of those things that you have to spam the cart because everybody's trying to get one?
Likely. You can't pre-order it, so
Steam people do tend to be like the like real diehard Steam people do tend to be a bit
autistic. Yeah.
crazy.
So yeah. I've been looking forward to this controller, wanting to try it out since it basically got revealed from the beginning. I have to play with a wired connection with my DualSense, and I have the DualSense Edge, the expensive one, to have replaceable sticks. But this thing has the next step up from what the Hall Effect sticks, the TMR sticks. Uses a whole lot of buzzwords. Seems like very
They're
similar
calling it
technology
next
to me.
generation, but it's like from like 2 or 3 years ago they became mainstream. It's like
Yeah.
they're just talking it up.
Yeah.
I mean, I can talk a little bit about what it means if you want to know, because I do understand how these things work.
I mean,
I'm sort of like a general scientist.
to me,
Basically,
I'm literally the insane clown posse right now. Effing magnets. How do they work?
well, yeah, it is magnet based, yeah, but so is Hall Effect. So yeah, basically the gist of it, like your typical controller is your typical potentiometer controller, right?
Yeah.
So you've basically got it's sort of like a brush motor. Like you've got brushes that move against rings as you move the stick in a given direction, and depending on like the position of the stick, the path through the ring is different, and therefore as the length goes up and down, the resistance goes up and down. So it's a potentiometer. A potentiometer is literally just another name for a variable resistor, and a stick is a pair of variable resistors, and it works out your position based on the relative resistances in the stick and for the x and y coordinate. And the reason why they drift is because there's a physical connection that is brushing back and forth constantly, and so they wear and they get dirty and they get crap in them, and basically drift is inevitable. The only time you don't get drift eventually is if you get outright failure eventually instead. Otherwise, drift is an inevitability. It's just a product of use. It's not a flaw in design or anything like that. It is just that this is the ultimate fate of having two parts that move against each other all the time. Hall effect is an electromagnetic effect that is caused by like the divergence of a basically a field of potential based on surrounding magnetic effects. So you can basically have no contact. You've got a magnet, and the magnets will swing as the stick moves relative to a current path, which will then diverge, and that signal is used to interpret stick position. Hall effect is good and doesn't have moving parts and doesn't drift. The problem with Hall effect, well, it's not really a problem, it's just a foible, is that the signal is actually really weak naturally. So you have to have amplifier circuitry and pump more juice into it. So the battery consumption of Hall effect it's higher. I don't know how noticeably higher it is, but you basically can't use, as my understanding of the Hall effect is quite a small effect. I'm not an electrical engineer, I'm a chemical engineer, so I don't know exactly what small means in this context. But it's a small effect that needs amplification in order to be read clearly. And so there's a certain amount of battery drain associated with the amplification process. TMR, tunnel magnetoresistance, is expensive by comparison to manufacture the parts for, because it requires a process of nanofabrication called sputtering, which my flatmate was a specialist at, where you basically coat your conductor. I think this is how it works, if I remember correctly. You coat a conductor in an insulating layer by sputtering. There's only a few nanometers thick, and there, due to the effects that are prevalent when you're working at very, 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 very small scales, you can still have a non-zero amount of electron movement from one side of the insulator to another. This is functionally just quantum tunneling, though. Problem, therefore, is that you have a certain amount of difficulty modeling the real world implications of this, because it's a quantum effect. It doesn't obey natural laws of electromagnetism as they're commonly understood. So basically, the effect of it is you've got a certain amount of current that is passing through what is nominally an insulator due to quantum tunneling, but the quantum tunneling effect is also subject to alteration based on the presence of magnetic fields. You can induce a higher or a lower rate of quantum tunneling depending on local electromagnetic effects. So as you move the stick, the position of the magnets will change, and the level of current capable of passing through the thin film insulator will alter, and you can interpret the signal directly as a position. So functionally, it combines the sort of like current modifying effect of the potentiometer approach, which is an easy to read signal, with the non-contact aspects of the Hall effect, which has no wear characteristic the way potentiometers do. So the theory is that TMR sticks are the best of both worlds.
I see. So yeah, those are on the
I don't know if you got any of that, Fern. Were you
It's
listening,
kind
or
of.
did you go to
I'm
sleep?
listening. No, it's just kind of just outside my areas of expertise. So yeah.
yeah. Basically, they're Hall effect sticks that don't need as much juice.
Yeah,
What
so
the
the engineering team at Valve are noted for their neurotic obsession with reducing power consumption and thermal footprint.
Mhm.
Like they are like efficiency mavens. They just love this crap. So there was no way that they were going to opt for Hall effect if they could buy a TMR solution. They did buy off the shelf TMR sticks, but they claim that they worked with the manufacturer to add some sort of custom adjustments to them, so they're not completely off the shelf sticks. But because they're a volume consumer of this type of product, I am expecting that based on previous behavior, they will have like a reasonable quantity of sort of manufactured off the shelf parts available for people who want to do self repair.
Mm.
The teardowns that I've heard about, I haven't looked into any teardowns of the equipment yet, but from what people are saying, they don't use like a gajillion different kinds of screws, and most of the screws they use are like conventional, like Torx heads and Phillips heads and that sort
they
of
Oh,
thing.
good.
they apparently worked with the guys at iFixit to make this thing as repairable as possible.
Yeah,
Good.
it's and you can also just like easily just gut the battery out and replace it with a better one if you want a better one too, or your old battery gets memory attached to it and you can't get the same charge that you used to. It's apparently super easy to replace the really important bits to replace.
Yeah.
That's good. No fiddling around with very fine pliers and tweezers, hoping to get a very very small ribbon cable back into position.
Yeah. That's
Looking at you, Quest 3.
literally everything that these days that you bust open, because repairability is, they don't want that. They want you to buy more controllers.
Yes.
So
Buy more crap. Don't fix it. Buy it.
The other thing is, while it does do Bluetooth, you can connect it via Bluetooth. You don't have to use Bluetooth, and in fact, the primary way that seems to have almost as good, well, it has as good of a connection as being wired, is the little puck thing
Oh,
that it
that's
comes.
good.
It's got a little charging puck instead of a standard USB charging cable, and you just plug this puck into the back of it that you have. You just set it on the puck, and it's magnetized, and it connects to the back of the controller, and it'll charge the controller. But this puck also sends out a radio signal that lets the thing connect to the directly to that thing as a wireless adapter, a dedicated wireless adapter, instead of having to go through Bluetooth.
That's good
So
because most people use Steam on on Windows, and Windows and Bluetooth are
Yeah,
mortal enemies.
yeah,
as somebody who's actually had to do shopping for a controller, all of this is old hat. Like I've got all of this stuff already. The
yeah,
the
Yeah,
thing that is characteristic about the Steam one is number one, touchpad options, and number two, it's not fucking asymmetric.
yeah. This thing allows claw
yeah.
gripping because it has the D-pad and it has the sticks on the same x-axis with each other.
I would say it has the sticks in the right place.
Yeah,
Because I'm so sick of asymmetric. Like I use asymmetric now, but I use it because there was nothing else on the market. Like, I didn't even have a freaking choice. If I wanted to get decent sticks that weren't potentiometers, I had to go asymmetric. There was nothing on the market.
yeah. And I imagine that's just because it's probably easier for the third parties to get in touch with Microsoft to make the similar form factor sticks, or they're less afraid of them than they are of Sony. Um.
Mm.
So yeah, this thing coming out like this, the touchpads are interesting. I can see, like, maybe I want to play mahjong with a controller. They'll probably allow me to do that easier than using the sticks for a mouse. But they're not the biggest selling point for me. It's nice that they're
Yeah,
there.
I can't see it really getting a lot of use. It's not going to be a paradigm shifting control. People aren't going to start playing RTS using a gamepad. That's not a thing.
Yeah, like, but maybe one day you just really want to lay back in your chair, but you still want to go grind some rank in mahjong or something. That's about all it's going to get used for. Um, uh, the bigger thing is, while Steam has gotten much better about this and letting controllers just work now, especially mainline controllers, um, and there are still the occasional ones that have shoes. And if you use Steam input, Rumble just doesn't work most of the time. That won't be an issue with this thing. It's going to be compatible with every Steam game coming out the box. Now, the con of that is it does not work out the box with non-Steam games. You have to get, like, I imagine there'll be like an update to DS4 Windows or whatever the kids use these days that you'll need for that. This doesn't.
Well, what I've heard said is that it works for basically anything that you launch through Steam, even if it's not a Steam game.
Yeah,
You can just use Steam as the middleware for it, and it's got like enough customization options to scare your normal user.
yeah, and because it uses Steam input, and if you've really dove into Steam input like I have for some games, it's yeah, that's gonna make the casual user freak out. But so
In fact,
this,
the only controller weakness that it has that is like a strictly a thing that they don't have that another controller has is they don't have Sony advanced trigger haptics. Like that's the only thing.
yeah, and honestly, I find those to be more of a nuisance than anything in the games that utilize them because they're not utilized well most of the time. I'm
Yeah,
constantly
it's basically a gimmick.
yeah, I am constantly reminded of Grand Blue Relink, where they would patch the game on PC to adjust how the haptics worked with the machine gun. Like the first 3 weeks of launch, like every other patch would change the way the haptics worked. So every time you got in a gunship level that had a machine gun section, the triggers would feel different and do different weird stuff. And ever since that experience, I have been off the haptic train. Not that I was on it to begin with, really, but Moon.
Moon.
But yeah, and also
Yeah,
I do miss having, working rumble in games.
Yeah.
It's just something you kind of live with as a PC gamer, as a crapshoot as to whether or not rumble will work or not. But
Well,
if
I mean, it works flawlessly for me now.
yeah,
The trick is don't use Bluetooth. If
Yeah.
you use Bluetooth, you're in trouble.
That tends to be the rule of thumb, really, is just don't.
yeah,
Wired is like a coin flip. Bluetooth is like just give up. But
Just don't bother.
Most Wi-Fi controllers work just fine.
yeah, and this will be integrated into Steam input directly, and not have to do any of the weird compatibility stuff. So Rumble should work with everything.
I have such a hilarious amount of like force feedback customizability that it's a little bit ridiculous, and I just don't use it because it's too much option to go through.
Yeah. So yeah, um, there's the gyro in it. I don't know anybody that really wants a gyro.
It's there for the one person, I guess, who wants it.
Yeah, maybe the one person that's playing NASCAR on PC. Maybe if the opossum ever gets a PC and gets a Steam controller.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely don't know anybody that prefers gyro. You can try and make that a selling point. I do not think that's going to get you any sales, but I guess it's expected. So cool.
Yes.
The back buttons on it look perfect for me, honestly. I like that they're big and buttony.
You're certainly really leveling the fine detail on us.
Like, I don't know how to describe it. They're not little flippers. They're not like little, just barely tappable things. They look like actual effing buttons on the back. And I bind crap to the back paddles a lot. Now, it won't be as big of a deal because my default to binding stuff to the back paddles, if I do not have anything I want to put on there by default, is I bind the stick clicks to there just so I don't have to click the sticks as much to reduce wear and tear on sticks. Because I don't want to have to go buy new sticks for my controller or go buy a whole new controller before I switch to the Edge. Like, it was just a pain in the butt. But now I'll have those things freed up, and I just like those buttons to feel like buttons and not like flippers or like anything like that, or the little flat things that we have on the Steam Deck. I like that they're actually look like buttons. Because if I do,
curiosity, I'm just posting what my customization software looks like, and apparently the Steam one is even more than this when it's in its full-fledged.
Yeah. So yeah,
but yeah, I already have a lot of custom options, even on this sort of like cheap Chinese. Well, it's not really cheap because I got the flagship. Sort of Chinese-made gamepad software. Apparently, the software is kind of sketchy, and some computers don't like it, but mine hasn't had any problems. So, but there's a lot of options in there. There's a lot of things you can tweak if you're the sort of person who actually has the skill to use any of it.
Yeah, I've gone nuts with Steam input before. One of my favorite things to bind the back paddle to is if there's a double button push combination that is just really obnoxious to hit. Like Monster Hunter is particularly bad about this with double button presses for a bunch of the weapons, and I will just bind both of those buttons to one of the back paddles. It would feel even better if one of those back buttons was a button.
Well, I don't know what you mean. Like
you know
what
how
is it like?
You know how you have to like press like triangle and circle in Monster Hunter for
No. I mean, like, it would feel better if it was a button. Like, is it not a button on your controller? I don't understand.
No, I have a paddle. The Edge has.
What do you mean exactly as opposed to a button?
I'll get a camera.
Because I've got both, right? Like, because rather than having 4 pedals, I've got 2 pedals, and I've got 2 buttons that are located on the shoulders that are additional to the regular shoulder bumpers.
Okay, hang on.
Although I have my pedals switched off at the moment because mine can be locked in place as unmoving panels.
Yeah, I mean, I have the only.
Oh yeah, I don't have that. I don't have that. Mine lie nice and flat.
Yeah, mine don't.
Mine aren't sticky outy weird things.
Yeah, they're little flippers.
Mine are nice and lie flat against my controller, but I don't think I've got enough good lighting to see.
Moon over the sun.
In the background, but it'll be fine. Let's see. How do I actually make this work? Come on, phone, you can do this. This is not complicated. I know I don't give you a lot of TLC, but see, mine lie flat like that against the handle.
Yeah. Mine do not do that. Mine are flippers.
Okay, that's why I didn't understand what you meant by pedal, because in my mind they were similar to the ones that I've got. But yeah, evidently not.
I was getting text messages from my parents who are in Florida at 1:30 in the morning.
Okay. They're not having a Florida man moment, are they?
No, their mom's having a hey, you're watching your uncle's dogs, right? How they doing? Moment.
Nah.
I have both.
Oh no, my feet are in that picture. Well, one of my feet is.
Oh no.
Why would you do this?
You can't tell it's a foot. I know it's a
there are
foot because of the way
people-
I'm sitting.
There are people who appreciate that sort of thing. What are you
I'm
doing?
gonna be stalked now. My feet
Yep.
pics are online.
That's okay.
Yep,
We've had
you're doomed.
okay, you've had on the stream where you accidentally feeded, and she more than outfeats you. Outfeats the world. Fortunately. So yeah, I like that, and with the announcement that ZZZ is coming to Steam, that means literally the only game in my current play roster that I would have to do any kind of weird higgledy-jiggledy with would be Star Rail.
Well, I mean, the leakers are saying that the ZZZ is the test case for just doing away with the Hoyo launcher.
Yeah, so
because the Star Rail, I think they said, I can't remember whether it was Star Rail or Genshin, that they already inserted the back end code to do away with the launcher and go to Steam instead.
yeah. Like I play Wuwa
It's
through
just not
Steam.
attached to anything right now.
Yeah, I play Wuwa through Steam and use Steam Input, so my left flipper pulls up the utility wheel, and I have right flipper bound to an extra dash button in case I really need to move because I'm doing something I shouldn't be. But yeah, so I'll be very interested to try this controller out. Long battery life, the ability to go wireless again, with a charging puck, and not have to fight Bluetooth. Like this is all stuff that I've been waiting on ever since they announced it. Because and the price point of $100, I hate to say it, but in this day and age, that ain't bad.
That's not too bad at all.
For a feature complete controller like this, $100 US ain't bad. Like literally, the only feature I would lose is the lockable triggers on my Edge that let me adjust how deep the triggers can be pulled. Like that's a handy feature in fighting games, and that's about it. And if you got back buttons that are actually buttons instead of flippers, I'll take that instead. Whatever I would bind to the triggers, I can just bind to the buttons on the back.
The Steam controller doesn't offer anything concretely that I don't already have in my current controller, except it's symmetrical instead of asymmetrical. That is to say, they had the brains to put the sticks in the right place.
Yeah, my biggest issue with asymmetrical controllers, I used to prefer them back when I didn't play fighting games or action games.
You were Halo Kitty.
Yeah, but symmetrical sticks are just the way to go because you cannot claw grip an asymmetrical controller. It's literally impossible. The form factor doesn't work. And you do not have as comfortable a reach onto the D-pad for fighting games as you do on a PlayStation controller with an asymmetrical controller. It just does not sit squarely in the hand, and you wind up doing wraparounds and over-committing inputs. It's not a good time. The only question I have about the Steam controller that I have not seen an adequate answer on is how accurate the D-pad is. And is it a split D-pad, like would be a good idea? and everybody wants a split D-pad, whether they think they do or not? Or is it one of the weird unified bushy pads?
What I'm incredulous about is that none of the manufacturers seem to even consider this.
Yeah.
Like,
Uh,
it just seems to be something that gets left by the wayside. Oh, let's not worry about that too much. Nobody cares about that. Like, why does everybody think nobody cares about that? Like, it's the main thing that will cause a controller to be either usable or not usable. Will be whether the D-pad is complete dog water or not.
Yeah, like I play a lot of 2D platformers and fighting games, and I would very much prefer a proper split D-pad. Or if this thing is repairable and customizable enough, is there at least an option for me to crack this thing open and get to the D-pad easily enough that I can just take the bushing out and put individual buttons on there? Like, so that will that be an option after a couple months when inevitably the third-party widgets of customization come out? Because while you
They
can,
will.
when you technically can do that with an Edge or even a DualSense 5, good effing luck putting it back together. I've tried it. It is a painful process. So yeah, I'm looking forward to trying this controller out. I really want to get my hands on it and and give it a shot. We'll see how it goes. I don't know how the pre-order system's going to work. I don't think they've announced how many of these they're making. I don't know what kind of sale limitations they've got going on. Uh, purchase restrictions on Steam are unfortunately some of the less reliable because everybody's got a Steam account, and B, the scalpers have already made backup Steam accounts for things like the Steam Deck, so they can get those when they were purchase limited. So don't know how much that'll help, but I definitely want to get one and try it out. So that's the Steam controller. So yeah, and yeah, that the other thing of note is ZZZ coming to Steam, which I've seen a lot of people being retarded about.
I mean, yes, it is easy.
Well, no,
You have met the Hoyo
the
communities.
the problem is it's not the ZZZ players. It's the other players of either Hoyo games or gotchas that are like, oh look, ZZZ's doing bad. They got to go to Steam because they don't know any.
Yeah, it's no that doesn't mean they're doing bad. It's just convenience.
I mean, yes, it is true that on mobile, Steam does or ZZZ does not make as much money as the other ones. But let me give you a clue. On mobile, ZZZ is also the hardest one to play. It is the
Oh, yeah.
least mobile friendly of all of the games. Wuwa is probably more mobile friendly, and that thing runs at like 2 FPS on mobile.
Yeah.
Find some pictures for you, Steel, of the inside and the system for the D-pad. So you can
Those
see sort of the buttons and the contact pads there.
okay. We do not have. We have a bushing, but we have individual hit positions for each button.
Okay, hang on, I'm just trying to catch up and find the pictures again. Right, is it one of those
That
membrane
no that
semi-joined ones?
no
Yeah, it's
that will
Yeah,
it's similar
function.
structure to a membrane keyboard.
Oh yeah, but that will function very close to a split D-pad if that's the actual depth of the buttons that I'm seeing with them in their unpressed position.
Yeah, so that's a good compromise.
Yeah, that is not the weird unified bushing that just they place over the entirety of the D-pad in modern controllers that would cover all 4 of those buttons and just be one piece of cloth or one piece of rubber. Because that's the thing that causes the issues with missed inputs is the thing is a unified piece of rubber. That is not a unified piece of rubber. There are holes in it for each individual button. That's promising. Now it just
See
comes.
how it performs. If nobody else is using that particular piece, then it will remain to be seen how well does it perform in practice.
Yeah, but that's hopeful. Yeah, if I could let's see if I can. Don't know if I can. Find a picture.
Like under at the bottom, like mine has underneath mine has the 4 separate micro switches, but there's a really small plate on top of it. I don't know why they're like obsessed with this plate. Maybe it's just easy to manufacture.
I think
or
it
something.
is. I think it's just cheaper and easier to manufacture. I'm trying to find a picture of the interior of a official DualSense Edge where it is just you can see how clearly it is literally just a circle of rubber. Does not have any holes for the buttons to go through. Like you need some kind of
Yeah.
bushing there, otherwise you can have short inputs. But
Yeah, mine's just a circle of rigid plastic. I don't know why. All of the micro switch buttons are underneath. I can see them. I can feel them, but they just put a plastic plate over top.
All right. Don't think there's any other news. There's a couple of older bits there that I missed. Like apparently they're adding Pokemon into No Man's Sky, if they haven't already.
What?
Because why not? I guess at this point,
Is it a Pokemon planet or the Pokemon universe?
it is the Pokemon universe with theoretically infinite creatures. Theoretically, because everything ends up being the same weird tentacle blob in the end. I might have to stick my face into that and have a bit of a dabble.
Become a Pokemon master.
Yes, in space. Because everything is better in space. Hang on.
Are there any Pokemon games where you go to space? Is that a thing yet?
Not that I'm aware of. So yeah, there's a market opportunity. Pokemon in space. Let's make it happen.
Space Pokemon.
Space Pokemon. Except Nintendo will probably sue you. Yeah, there's a few other smaller Pokemon likes out there that tend to kind of have that weird fantasy sci-fi thing that Pokemon itself has as well. Where they're like, there's just this inexplicably magical technology and no one questions it. But yeah. There's also Monster Crowd 2 coming up, so I'm going to watch another child get eaten by a Lapras. There you go.
That
game got
doesn't sound
dark.
very family friendly.
No, Monster Crowd got dark. Like really, really dark. All right. In that case, I think we might be about done.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else right now.
Unless you want to talk about Melty Blood. Because apparently there's a new Melty Blood coming.
Yeah.
There's always a new Melty Blood. And it's going to have probably an incomprehensible name that makes no sense because they do that.
It 130.
Lumina.
Yeah. It's French bread.
It is French bread. The plot is going to be
They would-
completely unintelligible.
They wouldn't name it something that allowed you to put them in order, would they?
Yeah.
Oh no, we can't have that.
No, you got to remember.
I mean, Under Night and Birth is just as bad, to be fair.
Under Night and Birth is the way it is because when they had to make their own IP because they couldn't make a new Melty Blood game, they needed somebody to help them with character designs and concepts. And the head writer's bright idea was to go to the guy that made BlazBlue and run everything by him.
I mean, to be fair, in terms of the way they write and the stories that they write, the BlazBlue guy is quite similar to the Type Moon guys.
Yeah, he is a turbo. He's a turbo autist with hyper world detail as his focus. But
his naming sense is not awesome.
Yeah. Well, at least he's not not as bad as Nasu is when it comes to Western actual names.
And he did give us the Valley or the Sea.
He did. So I just thought that I didn't know that until recently, that the reason Under Night and Birth is like that is because of the Blaze Blue guy. But no, apparently French Bread just was like, okay, we have all these cool original concepts in this binder that I've had since high school, but it's way too overdone and they're not marketable. I need to go ask somebody that's been successful. Oh, I'm buddies with the dude that wrote Blaze Blue. I'll go have him be an unofficial part of the team and just be the official character design and story design greenlighter. And so it's basically a spiritual successor to Blaze Blue in a way. So yeah, I accidentally put the moon backwards. The moon is behind a mountain. So yeah, Melty Blood actually has not had very much release stuff going on because Nasu's been Nasuing.
Yeah.
We just don't know when the next part of the Sekihime remake's coming out. But Lynn is apparently the title character for the new update, the new game, and is the one being featured. And I think she was part of the fan disc originally. She wasn't from Melty Blood, or not Melty Blood, from Sekihime itself.
No, she's from Kugetsu Toya.
Yeah, so she was part of the fan disc set, and so French Bread had a lot of just free ground with her to do whatever they wanted, and she became one of the unofficial mascots of the original Melty Blood. So they're busting her out to headline this new version, and yeah, I mean it's French Bread. They make really good combat, and for a fighting game, they're the only company that has done the reverse beat system right. They're the ones that invented it, so I would hope so. Where you, instead of going from light, medium, heavy in a standard chain, you can go backwards and make really fun custom combos. But and Melty Blood's still good for that. A lot of people like the new Melty Blood, but it's just the old Melty Blood actress again just kind of had the. It was special. It was like one of the few games that was easily piratable. So everybody had it. It ran on any PC. You could run it on a toaster, and there are people with like the jankiest laptops in the world and a CRT TV screen playing it on a 12-volt outlet plugged in at a gazebo for an official tournament with money. There was one tournament held in a bathroom.
Why?
And also Mantistic.
Yes, and Spooky's commentary of everything Nero Chaos does and calls all his animals, Mantis Stick being the most popular. Like you watch old Melty Blood footage and it's literally captured on CRT TVs. Like it is old. It became popular in a niche game because it could run on anything and was easily piratable. But it's just time has progressed. The new Melty Bloods, while it just took too long for a new one to come out, it couldn't carry that momentum. So now it's only got its really dedicated niche fans, and the people are like, oh, I used to play Melty Blood, in the toilet for cash money or at the gazebo. That show up and play it at tournaments nowadays. So old farts, basically. But yeah, I'll be interested in it. I'll probably scoop it because I like going through the story modes and just goofing around in the Melty Blood games because they have a very, very fun combat system without getting. The problem with Under Night is, you thought Blaze Blue got into the weeds with its special mechanics? Oh boy, UNIB and all its sequels just get progressively more insane with just the crap they tack onto it. I hear they don't actually make very much money, French Bread, on the UNIB stuff. Like they barely make a profit, but they just do it because they like it. Probably why it's an autist fighter's favorite game right now. Is the UNIB series.
Well, what else are they going to play? Freaking Street Fighter.
Yeah. So yeah. All right, folks. This has been Snowy Moon Time with no excuses. We'll be back next week. I'll probably have most of the content from the patch done by then. ZZ's patch may be coming out, so might have the story to talk about there. I'm not expecting too terribly much for content aside from the story and prepping us to move on, so there won't be too much to talk about, and I don't think either of us are planning to pull for the characters next patch.
No, I don't think so. I need to build up more resources, and then after that will be, I guess, for Lena. They previewed a whole bunch of new characters, and Claret is basically Rin, so maybe I'll pull for that. Like it's Kana Ueda doing exactly Rin's voice with no attempt to alter it in any way. So, but yeah, I spammed all the pictures in the mobile games chat for all of the new characters that they previewed in the trailer, and there's quite a lot of them. They're basically introducing a new cast.
Yeah, I'm going to a whole new region, but hopefully they keep their streak up of being able to keep old characters relevant. They do have a habit of just making sure everybody gets at least drug out for a little bit during event, abandoning anybody in ZZZ. So hopefully they can keep that up. We'll see. But I think that's all we got. We'll see you next week, folks. Sayonara. Bye bye.